You can't fire me. This is my damn show.
Welcome to the WTF Forum. The hosts do not give financial, legal, medical, or any kind of advice. Opinions are their own. This broadcast contains foul language and dangerous ideas. If you need a trigger warning, you are in the wrong place. Now enjoy the show.
Dear partners and friends of
What the fuck?
Forum, a very cordial welcome.
The WTF Forum is a decentralized broadcast network with no governing body of any kind, and is produced and distributed by a loosely affiliated, ever-growing network of rogue, independent content creators. This forum does not, will not, and shall not have any one location, feed, platform, or channel, but shall be shared and multiplied as nature dictates. If any listener of the following proceedings finds themselves offended, they will be asked kindly to go fuck themselves. All right, what is up, what the fuckers? How we doing tonight? This is Mike the Polymath coming at you from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I've got a couple Aussies with me for now. I'll pass it over to Stella Q.
Hey, a bit of nice theme music. Thanks for that. I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me again from the rivers of the north here in New South Wales, Australia. Always good to be here. Good to see you too, Drew.
You too, Stella. A couple of Aussies dominating this session today. Coming from the communist state known as South China, also known as Danistan, Victoria. So here we are.
The Australasian invasion.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I feel halfway guilty. Right before I hit the intro music, I said, "You can't fire me. This is my show." It is not my show. It is not my show. This is our show. It looks like we're going to have Rob joining us. He just texted me saying, "Hey, I'm in the room and nobody's here." We had some technical difficulties, so hence the delay. But it looks like Rob will be jumping in with us shortly. And we also have Brad. Is it Binkley from the Propaganda Report? He will be joining us shortly as well, if we're lucky. So, yeah, you know, I thought we'd just go ahead and start with this Burning Man thing, because why not? Like, it's kind of, I don't know. I want to say funny, but like not really. It would really suck to be there. How much have you guys heard about what's going on in Burning Man?
Lots of different things. I've heard there's been a torrential downpour. There's about 70,000 people trapped. No one can get in or is allowed to leave, except there apparently are some four-wheel drive type vehicles allowed to leave if they can handle it. Mm-hmm. Apart from that, a bit of a mess, but, you know, harden up. Look at Woodstock.
Yeah, it sounds like a sticky mess. Now, all the rumors that circulated about there being an outbreak of Ebola appear to be bullshit. Yeah, which it's kind of like, go figure. I mean, Ebola, like in Nevada, that just doesn't really make sense. First of all, like climatically, Ebola is a very much like tropical virus. I don't think it would really survive in the desert of Nevada necessarily. I don't really know that for a fact, but that's my assumption. And, you know, it's just funny how quickly a rumor can go, you know, halfway around the world before anybody notices, right?
It became the breakdown for a film where there's like a government opt to plant a disease at some big festival and use that as a mechanism for spreading it across the country. Sounded hilariously funny because I find it quite poetic that they're engaging in a Burning Man festival, which is based on the Wicker Man of Celtic pagan belief where they'd sacrifice people. So, you know, God just brought down the rain on top of them, and maybe he's just going to finish them off with a nice little bit of pestilence.
You could say there's maybe some poetic, justice here, perhaps. I know people who have gone to Burning Man, and you know they're good people or whatever. It's like anything else. There's going to be good people there, even if maybe the deeper implications of the event itself could be somewhat demonic or nefarious or what have you. But I think most people that go are just going for a good time, you know, tripping on acid and seeing some music and dressing weird and
Or not dressing at all.
or
Yeah.
being totally naked, you know. Yeah.
I
It
hate
is sort
to
of a what's the word for it? Kind of I don't know, I'm blanking
Babylon?
on the word. Well, yeah, Babylonian. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what's the word where it's just like depravity and
Botulism.
debauchery.
debauchery. Right. There's still another word I can't come up with, but that's neither here nor there.
Probably a lot of botulism there too, I'd say.
Probably.
Well,
I can't-
shit. Especially
I can't-
now. Yeah.
I can't help but be a little bit judgmental when I say pick the types of people that go to Burning Man, because I look at the photos of them and I imagine the smell is something between dog piss and fly spray, some kind of a combination of the two.
With
They
small
are the
hints of
filthiest
patchouli.
looking people I've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of patchouli in there. Yeah, you know, especially after they get trapped for an extra however many days. Yeah, the smell is probably pretty dank. You know, I bet you there will be people getting like trench foot and stuff. Like it's nasty. It's nasty.
Yeah,
I was reading up the like the official update that I think you sent out, Stella, and it is not anything to trifle with, man. Like they are in a genuine survival scenario right now. And I'm sure that they're, you know, shuttling in like food and water and stuff as needed. But
you
it's
sure?
just like I'm not sure. Like it's a
Yeah.
logistical nightmare, truthfully.
Well,
No,
I mean, they
know
could be doing
water on the first
drops.
day.
Yeah, they could be doing drops, like, you know, bottled
True.
water drops and things like that. So who knows? But it is a very, it's sort of like they've been corralled. And, you know, they are there is some talk, I guess, about, you know, whether it's geoengineering that did it, but there was definitely some talk about that back in Woodstock, back in the 60s. I mean, they were talking, that was 1969, I believe, if I'm correct. Yeah, they were talking about the cloud seeding back then, so nothing
Well,
new.
who better to experiment on than a bunch of crazy hippies that are already, you know, tripping balls and don't know what
Exactly.
the fuck's.
This is the
No.
point. Are hippies going to drink water from plastic bottles? Or are they going to drink water from the puddles and end up with dysentery?
That's a
Yeah.
tough one.
Yeah. Well, let's we've got this little video here. Speaking of like the theory of weather manipulation, I have not yet watched this, so I'm not sure what it says, but let's check it out.
The United States government has declassified and admitted with Operation Popeye that they could control the weather in the 60s and 70s to the point where they could extend the monsoon season to destabilize the enemy and enable U.S. troops to get the upper hand. August 27th through September 4th, 2023, Burning Man turned into Flooding Man when nearly an inch of rain fell on festival goers, creating a sea of mud and causing attendees to have to conserve food and water while they sheltered in place.
One person has died at the Burning Man Festival, and some 70,000 people are stranded.
So much water. We are flooded.
It is soaking wet here at Burning Man. Look at this water.
Thick, pasty mud pit. The ground in some places is almost like quicksand. With more rain on the way, and overnight we learned at least one person has died.
There's no way in or out for thousands of people trapped at the Burning Man Festival. It's all because of torrential rainfall that's turned the area into a giant mud pit.
Can we chalk this up to natural occurrence, climate change, or weather manipulation? Before you answer, it might surprise you to know that 54 years prior, back on August 15th through 18th, 1969, concert goers at Woodstock who just got hit by over an inch of rain were laying the blame at the feet of one entity. They were blaming the fascist pigs seeding the clouds with airplanes and wondering why mainstream media wasn't covering it.
I got something to say. I want to know how come the fascist pigs have been seeding the clouds. Right. The last hour and the airplanes going over twice with all the smoke coming out of them seeding the clouds. And I want to know, why that stuff is going down, man. And why doesn't the media report that stuff to the people, man? I'm telling you what happened. The planes come over an hour and a half and they feed all the clouds. People of unknown origin were seeding the clouds over the. I don't know what they waiting for. What's going on here? There's been a lot of things going on with all these elements firing like the sticky mud whipping between our nose and the drippy rain rolling down our neck. But it's all part of the high. It glues us all together. Because we're all in the same puddle. And we can work it out. We can make it groovy. Looks like we're making a little bit of rain, so you better cover up. Hey, if you think really hard, maybe we can stop this rain. Yeah. No rain, no rain, no rain, no rain, no rain, no rain. No rain, no rain, no rain, no rain.
Damn, that was intense, y'all.
That honeycomb symbolism.
Well, we've got a couple more contributors here in the forum. Going to welcome our old friend Rob from Black Labs. What's happening, Rob?
Hey, man, I'm just having my own Burning Man here, you know, with with a piece of crumbling infrastructure from our buddy Job sliding up and in your Biden.
And Ashley just popped in, think, change, repeat.
Hey.
And she was coming in clutch in the comments with the word I could not think of, hedonism. What's happening, Ashley?
Yes.
Hey, I actually shout out to Drizzle on that one. I think that was Drizzle.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That's my
Yeah.
bad.
I wish it was me. So sorry.
Well, yeah, no, we got Drizzle in the comments. I was mistaken. And we've got a new contributor. Welcome, Brad Binkley of the Propaganda Report. What's happening, man?
I'm still a little mesmerized by the no rain chant. I think
that
might have captured my mind. That combined with, obviously, you can see.
Oh wow,
Oh,
that's a good sniff pick. Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting a good whiff of.
Now,
combos here.
Brad, can we get a little more volume from you?
Yes, definitely, for sure. All right, let me see. So I have the automatic volume on in this. Is that better?
You're still
automatic
What about
sucks.
right there?
Yeah,
You're
it
still a
does
bit-
suck.
It does
You're a
suck.
bit quiet on my end.
It's definitely unanimous. It definitely sucks.
This is the only time a fully auto doesn't work.
You know,
Yes.
I tried it and I was like, maybe they got it better, but it doesn't. So, all right, that's a problem. It's on 14. All right, so how about that? That's probably a lot better.
Man.
Do
That's
18 or
that's
20.
Yeah, bring it up. Bring it up.
That was, yeah. How about
Pump
now?
it up, baby. The beat
Check,
style.
check. 1, 2.
That's better.
Yeah.
That's better.
All right, there we go. Sorry about
Right
that.
on. Well, glad you're here, man. I have not talked to you before. I was shamefully admitting that I think I've only listened to like one episode of Propaganda Report, but I
Hope
know
it was
that
good.
well, I know that a lot of the folks here in the forum are a big fan. So why don't you, since you're new, why don't you like tell us a little bit about your show and what you guys do? I would guess it's similar
I
to
do
what
a
we're
news
doing
show.
here, right?
Yeah, I do. I cover the news. I usually do 3 to 4 shows a week, and for the most part, I just go through the news of the day or the week. A lot of times, the news is actually pretty much the same throughout the week. They just do different variations of it, and so I try to look at that, kind of peel the curtain back behind what's really going on with that, and connect the dots to the broader picture. And then occasionally, I'll have guests on to talk about what they're doing, usually in the alternative media space as well. I try to have fun with it. It can be kind of blackpilling sometimes in alternative media, and I try to mock it a lot.
Yeah, that's similar to what we excuse me, man. I just sucked some beer down the wrong pipe, y'all.
You put a bowl of-
Somebody talk.
Must have been a Bud Light.
Right, yes.
Good one. Good one,
That was a
Stella.
good one, Stella.
His wrists did get a lot more campy, so
Man, choking on it. But yeah, so I mean, what do we think about Burning Man, right? I mean, definitely like a den of hedonism. You know, whether or not geoengineering has anything to do with it, I don't know, but it's an interesting notion. I had no idea that people were suspecting cloud seeding all the way back in the late 60s. That's news to me.
Well,
yeah, they've been studying that stuff for a while now.
The actual concept of weather manipulation goes back to the late 19th century, to be honest. But I actually just interviewed a lovely lady the other day who also happens to be my mother. And we were talking about weather manipulation, and she was telling me about, because she's a girl from the land, and she was telling me about when she was a teenager, that the farmers were welcoming this new science of cloud seeding. Because this is drought times in Australia, very bad drought. So, yeah, I mean, it was very expensive, which blows me away. It's like they had to pay for this experimentation, but whatever. So, yeah, that goes back to that was the early 50s. So she was aware of it back then, just, as a child, as just farmers on the land. So they were doing it here.
Go back even further than that. The Native Americans used it in rain dances. They'd burn certain things off at the same time to try and create clouds. It's the exact same idea, same principle.
It's interesting. I mean, they have Operation Popeye, which was during the Vietnam War, where the United States, they cloud seeded over there to try and make the terrain more difficult for the enemy soldiers to get their vehicles through, because they had the more advanced vehicles. And China has they have a government department for weather manipulation, stuff like that. I think we can take probably the time period since we can identify that it's being investigated and strategized with, and probably go back like 50, maybe 100 years that they've probably been doing it.
Definitely going to be earlier than what they have told us. Always.
Well,
but nobody ever connects that to climate change, though. So that doesn't have anything to do with climate change.
No.
I was gonna say I'm very grateful that Brad and Ashley jumped in here, because I was starting to feel like the Aussies were commandeering the forum. Like the balance was way off, man. I'm like, how did I find myself surrounded by Aussies? It's crazy.
We were having our own mini revolution. It was fun for a while.
Yeah. So we've got a few bits of information about the Burning Man thing here. Do you want to just? It's really interesting whenever you want to get to it, Mike, but I've just put a link in the private chat there, the timeline. It's very, very interesting to look at. It's got the revolution of the actual, you got to go right back to the left. It's one of those left-right scrolly type things, which is a little bit difficult on a, okay, you're not having a problem.
I've also quickly got to point out, did you see at the end those honeycomb-style structures that were being built at the end? Those are built by the engineer that we saw previously in one of these shows, where he's actually all about creating cloud seeding technologies and changing the atmosphere of the world via like a Monty Burns type of block out the sun thing. Can you remember we shared that on an earlier episode?
Right.
So he's the engineer that designs these the Burning Man.
The honeycomb pods. So he builds these honeycomb structures, like tiny little hotels that puts them up in like a couple of hours. That's what the structure was at the very end of that Burning Man clip. So he's literally there. The guy who wants to block out the sun with geoengineering was at an event when there's a sudden downpour of rain.
Yeah, it could be a coincidence.
Who'd have thunk?
Yeah.
So this is like the evolution of the actual Burning Man, because the first Burning Man was in San Francisco, and ironically on a place called Baker Beach.
Really?
I think it was 1986. I think I read.
80. Well, this is 86.
I believe it was 86. Yeah,
and there were 20 people with an 8-foot tall Burning Man, right?
Well, it was just two guys. It was two guys who just dragged a makeshift sort of stick figure down onto the beach, and then a crowd started to gather, and that's where it started.
How many children were inside it when they lit it on fire?
Yeah, good question.
A couple of witches.
I remember back in like middle school going to that Nicolas Cage movie, The Wicker Man.
Wicker Man.
Yeah.
Not the beast, no.
That's some weird shit, man. I don't know. Like anytime you're burning an effigy of some kind, I figure there's got to be something to it. So we're seeing as it progresses. So like from 86 to 96, it's gone from 20 people to 8,000 people. And from an 8-foot structure of a man to a 48-foot structure. and it just keeps on growing and growing and becoming more and more ornate. And
How
yeah,
big is it today?
this year I heard over 70,000.
Well, it's actually really. I know.
Or 2016, sorry. The
2016. I know, the Vitruvian Man. It's really interesting to watch all the designs, and I'd love to. I didn't really get into that, but I'd love to look at the philosophy behind each design every year. Apparently, the theme this year was Animalia. They have a theme every year. So you could just imagine the furries wandering around.
Tons of
What do people
furries.
do there? I don't know much other than the orgy dome and the climate
Drugs.
protest.
It's MDMA.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
lots of
drugs.
drugs.
Right, yeah, drugs, right.
I think there's a
Very
lot of
money.
there's a lot of art and I'm sure there's like music and stuff, but it almost to me just sounds very like chaotic and like it's I don't know, there's like kind of no cohesive concept except for lighting this wicker man on fire at the end of it.
They make quite a
just
big
know-
point out of saying it's not a festival. They regard it as more of a cooperative sort of situation. So they don't. They actually have 10 principles. They have the 10-point list, just like
10
everyone else.
commandments.
Do they go? Is there like
the UN?
points of time where they present this list? I know people have gone to Burning Man, and it's been people in theater that I know who are just looking to go party and maybe go get laid and do some drugs. Is there like they have a manipulation set up where they get these people there and they kind of program their minds with information?
I think you'd have to get an FOI for that one, mate. I really don't know.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Be a
Well, the free
perfect
love
situation.
movement of the 60s was a psyop. We know that now. So what's to say this isn't just the continuation?
I'm sure.
of it?
Yeah, exactly.
There are
I mean-
work groups out there that will
Interesting.
teach you different things, or you can do Karma Sutra or learn how to burn down a police department or whatever. They have that shit
It's an
there.
Antifa tent over
You
there.
know.
That's great. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So-
there's all
so-
sorts of events that people just sort of voluntarily. There's no trade, as in there's no money
Oh,
trading
interesting,
hands. They don't
interesting.
want any of that. I think there was only one or two things that you could actually buy. I can't remember what they were now, but so it's
Radical
all about
giving.
gifting. Yeah,
Yeah.
gifting. Yep.
So here,
How many
these are
police
the
there with dancing sticks going like that the whole time?
the poi guys and the hula hoopers and the flaming batons and stuff. I'm sure there's plenty of that. I had not heard about these 10 principles of Burning Man. This is kind of telling. So half of these things I'm inclined to agree with, but there's definitely some kind of subtext here. So we've got, for the listener, radical inclusion, gifting, decommodification, radical self-reliance, radical self-expression, communal effort, civic responsibility, leaving no trace. They certainly are leaving a trace this year, brother. And we've got participation and immediacy. I don't know what those last two necessarily are about.
It means to
All
be
in
in
the
the
orgy
moment.
pit, you have to participate. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because like participation in a lot of these rallies are like it's a whole it's like a get out the vote thing. Everybody needs to be participating, and it needs to be activism, voting, getting people signed up. I bet there's a lot of voting drives that go on
Yes.
at Burning Man.
But they try and keep that out, but it's not disallowed. So that's become a thing as of since Trump's been in, really.
Yeah.
They started pushing all that crap. So it's
So
basically
this-
been
I-
taken over by communists at this point. It started out with anarchists. Now we're in the commie phase, the Depop commie phase.
So, can somebody who's more familiar with it tell me okay, so I was reading some stuff about it and saw that they are running out of food and air, or food and air.
Yeah.
Yay! I hope they run out of air.
Well, Bill Gates has been
Burning
busy.
Man.
Yay!
Out of it.
Food and water. Okay. So, and then I was like, what is that? People are worried about running out of that right now. Like, isn't it a festival? And every festival, like, I can think of is a well-oiled machine, right? So they've got the food, they've got the water, at least for a few days.
It's radical
but there's-
self-reliance, Ashley.
So it's bring your own. Yeah.
If
Yeah, and they're
somebody
so
didn't
whacked
bring
out of their
enough,
They're so
You're
whacked out of their
screwed.
gorge and so high they ate all their food within the first couple of hours anyway.
They all got the munchies so bad.
BYOA.
in 2016, somebody went to get water, left the little spigot on there, it was broken because it dry rotted, and let all the water run out on the playa. Just
oh my god,
fucking idiots, man.
So I had to
Idiots.
look up. I kept reading it as playa, and I'm like, who's the playa they're talking about? Like
It's
what?
playa.
Playa. Yeah. So
It's another name for desert or something,
playa
isn't it?
is defined as a nearly level area at the bottom of an undrained desert basin, sometimes temporarily covered with water. So
Yes.
not the most ideal place for a 70,000 person event, you know?
And oh look, it's covered with water. Whoa,
Yeah.
who knew?
Go
Somebody
figure.
didn't do their homework.
And
Get
I
a
pulled
fucking dictionary already. What's the deal?
I pulled this up.
Should have Googled it.
Apparently.
So I found this one particular. This is kind of like the update as of today from the Burning Man organization, and I skipped over a lot of it. It's kind of just like traffic, travel warnings. Do not attempt to drive out except with a serious 4x4 with mud terrain tires, stuff like that. But what should I do? This section I found kind of interesting. It says, take shelter in a warm, safe place. Look out for your neighbors. Introduce yourselves. Don't drive or bike on the playa until further notice. Conserve your food, water, and fuel. Okay, ding, ding, ding. This is scary. Like, if they're saying conserve, something ain't right. If you have extra, share with your neighbors. It is always common sense in a wilderness environment. Pro tip, if you walk around, this is actually kind of useful information. Cover your shoes with a pair of socks. It will help prevent the playa mud from sticking to your shoes. If you are traveling out via the Burner Express bus, blah, 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 blah. This is the one here. Okay, so it is possible to walk to the Blacktop County Road 34. If you do this, make sure you have water and strength to walk as much as 5 miles through the mud. This is not a simple solution, but it is a possible one should you need or want to make the trek. They're talking about like trying to get people to Reno because like all the hotel rooms in this closer town of Gerlach are already full. I mean, this is a full-blown humanitarian crisis.
Sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty radical solution.
Yeah, you're gonna have
the most
like
I know about it is the Orgy Dome. I saw an article about the Orgy Dome, and it
Here
blew
we
my
go
mind. No, but that kind of thing is crazy to me. That people go there, and it's something they advertise about. It's like, come to Burning Man. They have an Orgy Dome, and it's just. Then there's articles about how to operate in kind of a normalization of that type of thing, and it's not even like a Woodstock sexualization thing. It's just like you read it and you feel like you need to take a shower after reading the article.
It's sort of like
Brad Manning,
takeaway.
you skim read it for the word orgy, and it kind of caught your attention. And you just ran with it.
I read every article with orgy in it, every single one.
An aficionado or orgiastic articles.
Yes.
Rob, you almost sound like you've got an you sound like you've got an insider perspective. Have you been to Burning Man? Be honest.
Okay, so
Settle in, everyone.
one of the guys I used to play out with in a band, he was in a group called Bloom, and he was one of the main people who organized the movement of it to where it is now on Black Rock back in '97. So
Okay, that's interesting.
I have not heard a confirmation or a denial from you as far as have you been there?
no,
Okay.
I have been to events that were very similar when I used to play music. So played a lot of underground clubs, after hours, mansions where everyone's having sex and all that kind of stuff. So
Rothschilds. Yeah, it's an interesting setup, this Animalia theme.
Did you guys see the climate protests that they had that like blocked all the traffic and people? I don't know if they glued themselves to the pavement or I don't know what it was. I know somebody like glued themselves to the top of a plane or something. And these activists are funded by, I think some of the people might be linked to BlackRock, but they're definitely well funded. It was just an interesting thing. I haven't dove too deep into the story, but it was interesting to see that climate activists were disrupting Burning Man, because it kind of like I would have presumed before that climate activists would be at Burning Man, maybe in the orgy tent. I don't know, but that they would kind of be there. But to see that they were in conflict with them, I think maybe it was probably to call attention to the situation of Burning Man. I don't know exactly why, but it was a weird story to me.
Chlamydia activists.
They fucked around and found out with those tribal rangers too.
Oh, you don't ever want to get on their bad side, because they can do anything to you. They can hold you indefinitely, all kinds of shit.
Yeah, they were not playing around with those people.
No, they're not big on that.
So, I was very skeptical about these rumors about Ebola. Like I said already, supposedly it's bullshit. There is no Ebola floating around at Burning Man. But then again, when you talk about orgy tents, I mean, would there be a better place to release a flesh-eating, bacteria? I don't know.
No,
Just gonna say monkeypox, Drew.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And there is one fatality as far as we know. I mean, I don't know what caused it, but this is a couple of attendees basically giving us their take.
Hey, chuckle fucks. There is no Ebola outbreak at Burning Man. If you believe that there's an Ebola outbreak at Burning Man, you are a dumb shit. Just remember, misinformation travels faster than real information. There is not an Ebola outbreak at Burning Man. And if you want to believe that, you are a dumb fuck. Period. Full stop. Hey.
I love that video.
Yeah, I found them kind of entertaining. Drew said in the comments, I think you have a good theory. The guy that died was probably at the bottom of the orgy pile.
Not a good place to be.
It actually happens. There has been incidences where like somebody's medication will interact with somebody else's medication. This has happened. Okay. This is no joke. This can actually happen.
And how do you know these things, Rob? This is my question always.
I work in the sex industry, okay? That's how I know. Anyways, so say somebody's on a blood thinner, right? And then somebody else is taking MDMA and meth. And oftentimes those are mixed together, right? And there's especially butt stuff. And maybe one person has a sensitivity to the other person's meds, and then they get dosed like that. That actually happens. So
anal dosing.
Yeah.
I've heard of boofing, but damn, I'd never heard of inadvertent boofing. That's a new one.
That's
and imagine
crazy.
if you're mixing a bunch of different fluids and holes and all kinds of stuff. You might as well be injecting it if you're banging it on your dick or in your butt.
Something.
Well, we talk about butt stuff with Rob everything
else
time.
Comes with it. So
I just don't think you want to be the first one in the orgy tent. You want to be, you don't, because you're going to get buried and you're going to get Ebola.
You don't want to be the last person either. You want to be in that happy middle ground.
That's what she said.
This is ridiculous, y'all. Holy shit. So
monkeypox, monkey pile.
I guess
monkey pie. Yeah. I'm not going to go too far off, so I'll stop.
Hot take on the WTF forum: sodomy's a sin. Wow, who knew?
At New Gomorrah, who would have thought? The funny thing is, they put the whole story out about Ebola now, but what's to say that they won't use this as a driver for the new variant had a big outbreak at this event?
Okay,
all these
that's
people
a good point.
This one event spread out.
Yeah,
they say that.
Interesting. They came up with an aerosolized crack scene recently. Did anybody hear about that? And it happened at the same time that this Ebola release supposedly happened at Burning Man.
Just like the mozzies and the malaria.
Well, so how does it work? You spray it and it kills all the STDs, or?
or whatever, or all the people, whatever.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Your virus of choice.
The best way.
I got hung up on the word crack scene, and I'm just
I know that's a good word.
Smoking, going, oh, I'm so immunized right now.
Hunter Biden has a lot of crack scene.
He has crack. He wants a crack scene immediately. That's the only thing that's going to save him. He cannot, through normal means, smoke enough crack in a day. So they need to start flying in planes, low-flying planes, just fumigating him all 24/7.
Right. He's definitely masturbating the entire time.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
And filming.
He's rolling them dice, baby.
Yes,
rolling them
the
dice.
Selfie cam. He's got the selfie cam going.
So, I mean, if we want 100% effective vaccines, clearly the best thing to do is just kill everybody, right?
Yes. No, they've actually
can't
said
get sick.
They've actually said that. That is an option. I don't know if anybody listened to them recently. They said that is an option.
Well, it's not written in stone. Oh, hang on a minute. Yes, it was.
Who are you talking about that said that?
The WEF and Yuval Harari. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
If we just get rid of everybody, then we don't need all these the medicines and such.
He's busy trying to get rid of God at the moment. He has actually said God is dead. We just need to get rid of the body.
Klaus Schwab did?
That was Yuval Noah Harari.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
His little mini me.
Anal
guy.
Up in me.
I think he's a puppet master. I think he controls him. He's definitely he's like a Master Blaster situation. He's on top of Klaus Schwab in some kind of Mad Max scenario.
Do you guys think that those guys are? So Edward Bernays used to talk about the guys who rule the world, or people who whisper in the people's ears who we see and that you never actually see them. Do you think that like Klaus and these guys? You think there's people whispering in their ears and pulling their strings, or
100%?
Yep.
Yeah.
If we know their names, they're not the leaders.
Yeah, I consider Klaus middle management.
Yeah.
He's a greeter at Walmart. Hello.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Whoa. I was thinking middle management. You think he's that low level?
Hello, how are you? We are good to see you here at the Apocalypse Walmart. And everybody is dying in aisle 4. Please head
right
that
when
way.
they walk into Walmart.
You can get stabbed in aisle 6, or you can take a death drug in aisle 10.
You may look at the product, but you will own nothing, and you will be happy.
Yes.
You can drink the blood of Greta Thunberg in aisle 15.
That's right.
Will own
What do
nothing.
What do y'all think about the fact that the nearest town is called Black Rock?
Black Rock
Oh,
City.
yeah.
Really?
Inevitably. Yeah. First thing I thought. I was like, oh, really?
Of course.
It's actually a city that they.
Black Rock City. We've got the Wicker Man effigy being burnt. We've got honeycomb Masonic symbolism. We've got animalistic undertones for like furries and transhumanism. What more do they need? Is there just going to be a demon pop out of that thing when they light it up next?
Yes.
Probably.
That's
I think there's probably a lot of demons already there.
I believe Black Rock City is what they actually set up for the. Well, I'm going to call it a festival. I don't know what to call it. That's what they set up for Burning Man. It's like that's the actual. They set
Orgy
up the
with
city.
music.
Well, that's the setup is they call it Black Rock City, and then they sort of take the city down. That's from my understanding. So it's like a temporary city, a pop-up
But it's
city.
like
so
it's like the Saturnalia and the Black Rock in Mecca. I mean, it's all those ties. They can't think of anything new anymore. Come on.
Nothing new under the sun.
That's why we need the writers to come up off a strike and write some good material for these losers. This is bullshit.
I know, they got pretty good material.
So
Yeah.
is the town that Stella that you're talking about? That's the one that's called Black Rock City, like the pop-up city.
Correct.
So
apparently it's specifically for this event every year.
So they named it Black Rock for that event. So that's kind of sadistic to name.
No, Black Rock is a place in the Nevada desert. Apparently,
Okay, so-
according to the map. I was trying to
The
look into
original
that
name
actually.
didn't
I was
take
trying to
off,
look
though.
into who named it Black Rock City, and then I realized that that is an actual place in Nevada. So I'm going to guess maybe there's a Black Rock somewhere that maybe the Native Americans called it, or the just whoever. I don't know. Didn't get
now,
back
Rob,
that far.
you'll know. You wouldn't know this, that the original name didn't take off, and the original name was going to be called Synagogue of Satan Festival, but they didn't like the word festival, so they changed the whole thing.
The number 2 name was Sodom and Gomorrah with a little more.
New Sodom.
Oh, Mike, you're muted.
Yeah. I was gonna say that'd be too on the nose, Rob. That'd be too obvious. So we'll call it Burning Man at BlackRock. I mean, Jesus, right? Like, holy hell.
Right.
All right,
and then
let's
it'll
watch.
just be burning all the men's.
I had not heard of this BlackRock Aladdin thing.
Yes.
Anyone care to comment before I play this video?
Aladdin
this
is
is
the
the
AI
investment
they
thing.
invented that handles the investment, and they want it to basically run the world. So
A little bit on the nose that AI is like a genie. Once it's taken out of the bottle, you can't put it back in.
and also too, it always twists around your wishes. They forgot that part apparently.
Yeah.
I want to lose 40 pounds, and then your legs get decapitated. Type of a deal. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, here we go. Just a moment.
What if I told you there is a robot that controls more wealth than any country on earth? A robot so powerful that in the last 10 years, it has quietly created the biggest company in the world. This is the story of a robot called Aladdin. It's Wall Street's best kept secret, and it's gobbling up every asset class across every industry. Aladdin now controls $21 trillion of our global economy. To put that in perspective, that's more than the $20 trillion GDP of the US or the $15 trillion GDP of the entire European Union. The New Statesman wrote, the total physical cash of all 7 billion people and every company, bank vault, wallet, and piggy bank in the world is around $5 trillion. Aladdin has grown into a system responsible for more than 4 times the value of all the money in the world. This one robot directs the actions of the US Federal Reserve, almost every major bank and investment fund on Wall Street, and over 17,000 traders. It controls half of all ETFs, 17% of the bond market, 10% of the global stock market, and carries out 250,000 trades every day and billions of forecasts every week. Year after year, it hoovers up trillions of data points on every market, every company, every asset, and now even each of us, what we buy, sell, and say, so that it knows what to buy and what to sell far better than any human being. Every major bank, company, and investment fund has come to rely on Aladdin and its all-powerful AI and algorithms to beat the market. And if they didn't, they've collapsed and failed in Aladdin's wake. And you know what the craziest part of this story is? This robot is just getting started. So where did Aladdin come from, and how did it get so powerful? Aladdin is the brainchild of Larry Fink, the founder of BlackRock, and its total dominance has made his company the biggest shadow bank in the world and the most powerful company on earth. The story you're about to hear is equally unbelievable and terrifying. In fact, you would think it was science fiction if it wasn't very real and happening today. This story starts in the 1980s when Larry Fink was making millions pioneering mortgage-backed securities at Wall Street Bank First Boston. That's right, the same mortgage-backed securities that caused the 2008 global financial crisis 20 years later. But back in the 80s, he was in an epic Wall Street rivalry with Louis Ranieri at Salomon Brothers, made famous as the big swinging dick in Michael Lewis's book, Liar's Poker. Back then, Larry was making millions for the bank and was on track to be First Boston's CEO. And then in 1986, an error in the back office computer models led to Larry making the wrong trades, and he lost the company $100 million. The result was Larry leaving the bank as a failure with a stupid computer to blame. With that experience, Larry had just one ambition: to build a super smart robot that could pick out risk and opportunity in the market and do it better than any computer or human could do. In 1988, he launched a new startup, BlackRock, with a tiny coding team to give birth to this robot. Its name, Aladdin, which stands for Asset, Liability, and Debt Derivative Investment Network. In its first 10 years, Aladdin was fed information about every asset, price movement, and risk variable in the global bond market, Larry's specialty. And in 1999, when Aladdin turned 11, Aladdin was getting so intelligent at picking losers and winners that Larry began selling access to its data to other Wall Street firms. That same year, he took BlackRock public on the New York Stock Exchange. Straight after the IPO, the dot-com bust burst, pushing a wall of money from the stock market to bonds, which Aladdin had become the undisputed world champion in. Within years, BlackRock had become $1 trillion company, and as money started shifting back to shares, what did Larry do? He bought the asset management arm of Merrill Lynch, which was focused to shares. So the gift for Aladdin's 18th birthday, all the data points for the entire stock market, and suddenly Aladdin had a new playground, analyzing every stock trade and risk factor for every company on the stock market. As a result, today BlackRock, together with his 2 closest rivals, Vanguard and State Street, both of which also rely on Aladdin's mountain of knowledge, have become the biggest shareholders of over 40% of all public listed companies in America. 2008, the global financial crisis hits, and before Aladdin turns 21 years old, is caught on by every Wall Street bank and Timothy Geithner, the head of the Federal Reserve and the US Treasury. As soon as Lehman Brothers collapsed and the Wall Street meltdown began, the US government came calling to save the next collapsing bank, Bear Stearns. It was Aladdin who decided which assets to keep and which to leave in the $30 billion rescue package. And few people know it was a robot that saved America from disaster. With that first success, the Fed, US government, and now even European and Japanese central banks began relying on Aladdin to make the calls on where the $2.5 trillion of new money they printed should go. The majority of it, bonds and funding to prop up the mortgage companies and banks. But wait, aren't these exactly the assets that Aladdin and BlackRock already were invested in? Exactly. But growing protests of conflict of interest were drowned out by the noise of the printing presses printing more money, as the assets controlled by Aladdin rapidly grew to $11 trillion by 2013. In the last decade, Aladdin has gone from the leader to the dominator of all financial markets. With BlackRock's Barclays acquisition, it got iShares, Barclays Exchange Traded Funds Units, or ETFs. And with that, Aladdin moved from dominator of bonds and equities to dominator of ETFs, just as all the biggest investors shifted from mutual funds to ETFs. And that's when, in 2017, everything changed. On Aladdin's 29th birthday, Larry launched a top secret project at BlackRock, codenamed Monarch. It led to the firing of his fund managers and replacing their funds with Aladdin's funds. The robot was now eliminating humans from the equation altogether. And as a result, today, over 70% of all trades on US stock markets are decided by robots, with Aladdin leading the way. These trades are completed from beginning to end without a human involved, in high-frequency trading far faster than a human can execute. Now,
All right, I feel like my brain's about to pop because half of this is basically Chinese to me. You know what I mean? But like, it doesn't sound great.
It sounds like AI. We got the chat GTP why BlackRock has been using more advanced AI to pick their stocks is what it kind of, it's a simplified.
Well,
yeah, it's Chinese to me too.
It actually in some ways is simpler if you think about it, right? Because it's just numbers. It's just math, you know, versus like language. There's more nuance.
Right. Yeah.
So it almost makes sense they've had this for 10 more years or whatever, 20 years, because it's just a super advanced program, right?
Mike, I'll break it down even more for you. Here's a picture storybook version. There was once a little AI that could. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can.
That's pretty good.
I think, therefore, I am.
I found a couple things disturbing, and we talked about them a little bit in the chat. So, the fact that this video called like Vanguard State Street rivals, I don't buy that for a minute. I think the people that own all of those people are the same people. And then we also commented on the fact that the project is called Project Monarch, which is one of the well-known MK Ultra sub programs. So it's like, this is
they've got people on each other's boards anyway. They've got controlling stakes on each other's boards.
Totally.
So essentially they own each other.
Yeah, of course they do. It's all incestuous. You only have to look up the stock market. You know, it's all information that's out there. Totally. Yep, all in bed with each other. They've got their little orgy tent going on.
Yeah. There you go.
Very sinister. It's really sinister. Honestly, it was disturbing.
Surely is.
Well, but my question is like, I mean, I guess I get it. Like they're trading in like values of assets, right? Whether that be businesses, real estate, hard commodities. You know, I understand like what the stock market is, but when you look at it like that, when it's just kind of downloaded at you, it's like none of this really makes any goddamn sense. It's just like they're playing with decimals, you know, like. And the scary part is that it has real consequences when it goes awry. Or I guess if it goes the way they want it to, it doesn't necessarily help out us, the folk, right?
Well, they buy and sell birth certificates on the stock exchange as being future taxpayers, right? So for the tax farm. What happens if AI becomes self-aware, has a physical body, and thinks it owns you? That's a Terminator future, right there.
They're actually looking at that. There's some bioethicists that are going through and gaming how this might happen. And should we be giving bodies to AI? interestingly enough, there is an idea that with the Neuralink, you'll basically be able to rent your body to AI if you need money.
Oh, my
Well, that's the
God.
idea in science
Mortgage
fiction films
yourself.
where instead of going to sleep at night, you rent your body out for 12 hours for night shift,
Yes.
and then you get a check in the morning.
But
Now
this
you got
is
to worry
real.
about what kind of body does AI want? Do I need to work out? What do I need to do to get AI to want to work
Well,
my body?
It'll just take you to the orgy tents anyway, Brad.
There you
Then
go.
won't
It's just
get the
going
experience
straight to the
yourself.
orgy tent. It don't give a damn about bike riding
Disgusting
or
AI, yeah.
anything
I'm
else.
pretty sure I saw this Bruce Willis movie. Like,
You're gonna get malware at the bottom of that orgy pile
No,
from the AI.
there you go.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
Well,
God.
I'm pretty sure. No, like no joke. It was Bruce Willis surrogates, and it's like
Right? Yes.
it's a disturbing movie. Not
really
the
is,
best,
yeah.
not the best movie, but pretty disturbing. And
Or what was
It's-
what was the
it's a-
one with the Seventh Day or something with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Isn't that
Oh,
where
yeah.
they where you can have a new body and all that shit?
yeah, you can
It
clone
reminds me
yourself.
of the way you know how I can't remember the actual term. You might know it, Rob, but you know when computers are sort of using lots of different computers all around the world, like sort of. Do you know what I mean?
Like a hive mind, like a network. Yeah.
Interconnected.
Yeah.
Supercomputer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's where they sort of reach in and use a bit of your power, your computer power, and they do it all over the world, like in bits. There's a
Sucking
term
power
for
That's a
it.
off of the
blockchain.
other.
That's a blockchain. You've just described how
Oh,
the
well,
blockchain
yeah.
works.
Okay, yeah, all right then. Good.
I mean,
Yeah,
that makes me want to look into Larry Fink a lot more for sure, and it pisses me off because the internet's not what it used to be. You used to be able to
Fink.
find out information about people.
I mean, even
but
his
it's
name,
much harder.
Fink.
You know,
Fuck's
it's
sake.
Finkenstein.
Says
or
it all.
Finkelberg.
Yeah, yep. Hey, Mike, can you please bring up that stockzoa.com link that I put in the private chat, and we'll just have a quick look at who owns BlackRock here. BlackRock
Sure thing.
is part of an investor.
It is crazy. I hadn't heard of BlackRock like a few years back, you know. And
Me
now
neither.
Suddenly, it's everybody just kind of knows it as a company that basically runs the world.
So
So
I
they're the
found
top
out of
investors of
BlackRock
BlackRock.
through mercenary groups because they own a whole heap of mercenary groups around the world. That's how I got onto them through
Interesting.
PMCs.
Yeah.
They own
That's
everything. So that's, yeah, I mean, look at the top three: Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street.
Bank of America.
There you go.
So I love that Bank of America. So Bank of America had this story not long ago where Bank of America is the leading ESG. We are in equality, inclusive and everything. And on the same day that it was discovered that they had been robbing their customers for like 12 years by double charging their brokest customers are double charging for pulling too much money out of their account.
The late fees. Yeah.
Yes. A number of other things.
I
right?
saw
the
that.
same day. The big scandal.
Yep.
On the same day it happened, their CEO was literally in England, in the castle with the King of England, with Larry Fink, and with Joe Biden. On the same day that this scandal that the leading ESG company comes out with.
That
It's
is
crazy.
horrifying.
I think I should read this for the listener. We'll just do like the top 10 here. Vanguard Group, BlackRock, State Street Corporation, Bank of America, Temasek Holdings, Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, Capital Research Global Investors, Geode Capital Management, Wells Fargo, Capital Research Management and Company Division 3. Who the fuck are these people, man?
At Division 2 and 1. Where are they?
Yeah, no kidding. JP Morgan Chase, Capital World Investors. That's about all that I like recognize. There's a bunch
it's all
of others.
incestuous. If you go into each one, you can sort of also then see other arms of, Verizon owns this and Vanguard owns that in that company that is also then owned by that company. It's just
It's so
this big
fucking
web.
weird, man. I'm just like
I don't understand it.
do we just do this shit because we have nothing better to do? We're just gonna like make up a bunch of crazy like corporations and like, I get it.
It is
Sort
weird,
of.
isn't it? It's just
It's just
numbers,
bizarre.
isn't it? It's numbers
Well,
that run the world. It's so strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a drinking game for all of you. You've all played the game 3 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? 3
Yeah.
Degrees of BlackRock. And every company you'll find has 3 degrees of link to BlackRock, and you'll be hammered
Yeah.
drunk at the end of
You'll
it.
die.
Yeah.
You'll die.
That's what they
That
want.
is their plan for Depop. Is
Yeah,
have
you
everyone play the BlackRock drinking game.
Right.
The BlackRock
You can look
game
at their
brought to you by
ESG
BlackRock.
scores too. Like they had, at least they might have changed it because I know that there was. They haven't actually changed the system. I think they're changing the language they use around it. But you could look up a few months ago, like the ESG, BlackRock, and Vanguard donations, and see the company. And Bud Light was what used to be towards the top of it. That was getting the most money from them because it was just a bribe. Because they knew they were going to lose money from their customers, but it was worth it because they were getting more money from BlackRock and Vanguard, and there you could find a list of that before. I don't know if it's still out
exactly. In the same way it worked with like Target and all those other people that did those stunts.
You know what? Hear me out. It's going to sound crazy. Won't be the first time. Won't be the last.
Again.
I see it is sick.
So check this out. What if they start finding serial killers and giving them money or credits to their ESG account because they're killing people?
It's a negative. You're
white people.
You're sequestering
white
carbon
men.
first and foremost. That's a carbon credit.
Yeah. What about that?
Well,
would that
like
happen? Do we see a
generations.
day when that happens?
I think
Do
that
we
they
see
make
today?
the serial killers anyway, so nothing would surprise me. They may already be doing that.
They are the serial
There's some
killers.
of that too. Sure.
That's
Bigger
right.
guns.
There's some of that too, you know.
We could get bigger guns.
So
And
So-
in the chat, I was going to say that Drizzle said Bank of America is Rockefeller property. And he also said rings within rings provide obfuscation.
For sure.
and
Yeah, exactly,
the appearance
exactly.
of competition so they can get around monopoly and trust laws.
Yep.
Right?
And they've
Yeah,
also
like
got
Pepsi
their
and Coke are owned
investors,
by the same company. Like,
and they've got their
There's no
stakeholders in
control.
their not-for-profit situations because everything's not-for-profit, isn't it? I mean, they never.
Oh,
profit.
yeah.
right.
That's the
Yeah, Jimmy
biggest.
Savile
that's
had a
the
lot of
biggest grift.
not-for-profit organizations.
That's the biggest grift going.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is.
because now you don't have to pay taxes, or you pay very
Exactly.
little. You know.
Yep.
Oh,
That's
I'm
why
a
they do it.
charity. I don't have to pay taxes.
And well, they hammer us little people.
Yeah.
I've very seriously considered trying to, or it's halfway a fantasy, but making Easy Peasy into a religious organization.
We should.
Yes. Church of the Subgenius. That's
We should,
what
Father
need.
Mike.
How about we make the WTF forum a church? Why not? Why not?
We should all do this.
Hey, we gather.
people at BlackRock.
We gather every Sunday. I mean,
Hey, we
Yeah.
we gather more than most people who tout religion do. Okay, so there's something there.
there is something there.
We should do it.
I want to play just the last few minutes of this video because I feel like it's probably gonna maybe reveal a little more. We'll see.
If this was just a story about a robot taking over the job of Wall Street traders, you might not be so concerned unless you're one of those traders. But in the last 3 years, as Aladdin hit $20 trillion in assets, incredibly, it has begun to consume and control at an even faster rate. First, in 2020, as Aladdin turned 32 years old, the US government and Federal Reserve again came calling as the pandemic hit. Aladdin was again the one to guide the nation in what was now $4 trillion of newly printed money. Where did the money go this time? Inexplicably, for the first time, the Fed began buying ETFs in 2020. Well, that's a little strange. And again, the cries of conflict of interest were drowned out by the money printing. And then Aladdin revealed its endgame. Recently, BlackRock acquired eFront, which collects data on the things that you and I own, including private equity and real estate. And since then, Aladdin has consumed eFront's data on the entire global real estate market. And yep, you guess what happened next. Over the last 2 years, BlackRock and other funds using Aladdin's data have begun buying up single-family homes where they can afford to outbid the rest of us as they have unlimited financing at hyper-low interest rates. The result is home prices rising by 20% over the last 2 years and pushing now even big players like Zillow out of the market. And here we see Aladdin's endgame to be the one hyper-intelligent AI robot that not just controls Wall Street assets, but all assets, public and private. Now, I'm not into conspiracy theories, but even a skeptic with eyes wide open can see the signs. We're already at a point where no one can compete without Aladdin. As CEOs and asset managers like Anthony Malloy are now saying, Aladdin is like oxygen. Without it, we wouldn't be able to function. And what about government regulation? Well, Joe Biden has appointed BlackRock executive Brian Deese as head of the National Economic Council, which basically means the oversight of Aladdin and BlackRock is now the responsibility of BlackRock. And Biden has also appointed BlackRock Chief of Staff, Wally Adeyemo, to be Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, which means BlackRock is now the Treasury as well as the Treasury Advisor. And this story is far from over. The genie is out of the bottle, and Aladdin has already reached a tipping point where one robot controls more wealth than any person or country. But as Aladdin's AI capabilities continue to grow, and with its rate of control rising by another $1 trillion to $2 trillion in new assets every year, it looks inevitable that Wall Street's secret weapon could end up owning everything, and we end up owning nothing. So what do you think? Are you indifferent, surprised, angry, afraid, or have a different point of view? And if you found this interesting, if not a little alarming, before you go, do subscribe so I can keep you updated with more news on the exploits and adventures of Aladdin.
Fucking Will Smith, man.
Fucking crazy, dude. You know what I thought like a minute into that? I almost think this is like the bottom of the rabbit hole in some regards. Does that make sense? I mean, am I off base there?
Well, the punchline is you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. So I don't think you're off base at all.
I want to know how they know that we're going to be happy. Are they going to program us to be happy?
You don't have a choice.
That's where the Neuralink comes in.
Send out the happy program. They're getting restless.
Put on your goggles and enter a blissful, perfect world of your own creation. And
yeah.
And
lack
where
of
your haptic
responsibility, I think, is probably part of it, where it's like you don't have to worry about doing anything. It's kind of like the surrogate thing where you just sit at home and do whatever and everything else is taken care of.
Well, we've seen that a lot of the population would be content to be told what to do every moment of the day.
Correct.
And this
Look
is
at
still
some of
very
these
surface
dumbasses.
level.
My God. Ugh.
I think it goes further than this because the end goal is going to be complete economic and societal control. We know that. That's a given. But what is there beyond that? There's physical control over your bodies, what it can and can't do. And then there's a spiritual level. So there's two other layers that have to be taken out before then.
I also think it's kind of interesting that we've got Aladdin and then we've got that massive, huge Chinese Alibaba, because there's a link there somehow. I'm just sort of looking it up, and it's.
I just figured out what the password is to hack those systems. Open Sesame.
There you go.
That's it.
That's funny.
So you know how they were talking about how they were basically the Aladdin was basically examining all privately owned property, right?
Yeah.
So anybody wonder where NFTs came from? You know, there's such thing as physical NFTs right now, right? Which is an NFT that is linked to an object, right? Like this. There'll be an NFT for this. There'll be everything down to a quantum level as far as, you know,
Yeah, that's how they want to
different
track all the
items
food
you
and
own.
everything.
Yeah.
Every
Track
physical item will
your-
have its own NFT backed up to it.
Yes.
Even
And
down
I-
to ingredients and
Ice Age
food.
Farmer and Allison, what is Allison
McDowell.
McDowell? Yeah, they were talking about that. That they like every piece of fruit, every vegetable, everything. They want it to be on the
Track
blockchain.
and trace.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all under the
And you know-
guise of health and regulations, because if there's a contaminated piece, they can track exactly where it's come from, who's bought it, and tell you to throw it out.
But they could be the one who contaminates
Is that the idea?
You know? I'm sorry,
What
go
was
ahead. Finkley.
It's all got a QR code on it, like the bananas and
No.
everything. Is that the idea?
Not necessarily. It'll be like an RFID. They have literally nano RFIDs now that they're going to actually inject into, or build into the seeds, the animals, etc. And now they've got an RFID that's organic.
Yes,
I
bet.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew it was going to go
protein
there.
chain.
So much so,
Yeah.
ready, so much so, Rob, that if they set up a system where you have to have certain types of foods, like let's say they completely say meat is bad, you can only have 20 pounds of meat over a month, they're going to track your bowel movements in your toilets to see if
Yes.
you've had more beef than you're allocated to.
Already doing that. That's how they knew where the COVID outbreaks were.
So they say.
Oh yeah, in the sewers they
Yeah.
they were checking the wastewater for that.
Yeah, they had sensors in the sewers.
Supposedly they
Sewer alligators are more believable than COVID in the shit. Seriously.
Well, okay. Look, we all know it wasn't whatever they say it was. Okay.
Yeah.
What it likely was is that they were tracking various types of DNA from certain lineages, right? That's my theory. And that's all this testing all was. So
it's also a normalization in the communication of it. So the more we hear that, then the more that it's okay. We see some weird guy going to put computers in the sewers and, hey, let me check your bathroom, knock on the doors.
Well, that's the thing. Apparently,
anything to keep me safe from a virus, guys. Anything.
The sewer thing's super interesting because I heard they can basically, at least in like a city, they can track to the neighborhood or even like the building. You know, it's pretty wild. And they have been normalizing it. And it's only one more step to have like your plumber put a little chip on your toilet. That's not outrageous. That's not a stretch, really. It's not a stretch.
Like a smart meter for your
smart toilet. Yep.
Yeah.
They sell urine now to get past drug tests. Now there's going to be a whole new market that emerges from this.
Well, no, but it's not yours, because they'll be able to look at the epithelial cells and tell it's not from your body.
And they'll look at the
purchase
of the food you've made, and then if that food just doesn't show up in your fecal matter, hey,
there you go. Yeah.
The shit police. Well, you can always get a job.
Black market.
I've just been looking at. I've just been looking at this thing called Appeal. You've probably heard of this. It's a Bill Gates initiative, APEEL. And I'm not saying that this is what's happening, but I'm just saying that this, on top of what Rob was just saying about the micro. What is it? What did you say? Micro tracker things.
Nanites.
Yeah, things.
Yeah, nano RFID. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why couldn't that be built into this stuff? Like they're saying, this is really good because this keeps everything fresher longer and what have you. But who knows what's in it?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. Does it? I was just trying to see if it.
They're just getting us used to the idea.
Like, what is it?
So it's like an
extra. Okay, look. Appeal is an extra peel of protection made by applying another layer of what already exists naturally on fruits and vegetables. The extra peel has one job, keeping moisture in and oxygen out, because fresh produce is a living, breathing thing. Okay, excuse me. That's self-contradictory, right?
Yes.
It keeps moisture in and oxygen out because fresh produce is a living, breathing thing.
So let's suffocate it.
Appeal simply shows.
A mask. It's a mask for my produce.
It
says
exactly.
Appeal slows down respiration. This is a little small to read, sorry. And associated oxidation and water loss for longer freshness. Of course, Appeal protected produce still spoils just a bit slower. I mean, dude, just leave the fucking food alone.
Okay, I'll tell you something about this stuff because this is only just a brand new version of it. It's been out for a while.
Yeah.
The shit that they put on your mainstream fruits and vegetables that the big suppliers give, your body can't actually digest what's on top of it. So there's been multiple cases of people who eat mass-produced foods like this, who go and get a colon cleanse, and so much waxy, plasticky shit comes out of them that they can't pass normally. It's absolutely disgusting.
And it's like estrogens and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So
this stuff really upsets me. It does.
Less carbon, the better.
I mean, I get the advantage that would give to
people making money.
People making money off of our diets, right? Like the supermarket is part of the control mechanism to the maximum. There's a reason they fucking got rid of all the mom and pa grocers and butchers and everything else. And the small farmer is all but gone. I mean, this is why I always go back to talking about permaculture, because it's literally the only thing we can do to stop it. Like grow it ourselves, you know?
100%.
People who try to genuinely develop technologies too are going to be a target for co-option, because if they do come up with something, because there's always a double-edged sword of technology that can be very, very helpful, but then can be weaponized and used for military purposes every single time. And I think sometimes when people might be working on some of this stuff, they're not even thinking about that. Or sometimes if they are, but sometimes they're not. But as soon as they come up with something great, you're probably going to get a knock at the door saying, this is the government. We need to take a look at that stuff.
The weaponized
Freeze,
version of Appeal
FBI.
is probably cryogenics. Cover someone in that stuff and they just freeze.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Isn't keep the moisture out and the oxygen in also how Bill Gates likes his women, if I recall correctly?
I don't know if he likes women. I heard he likes little boys, but I don't know.
Probably, yes.
That would not
God,
surprise
what a
me.
weird guy.
Mm.
Yeah, well, his wife didn't like him, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Wife,
Belinda. Yeah, his wife. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like the quotes around it.
Well, you know,
Sexy woman.
I've got a little transitional piece that won't take us long to cover. But this kid gives me hope, okay? This, I'm sure y'all saw this. This kid gives me so much hope. Maybe there is like, I don't know, dude. I hope if they fuck with people long enough, we will do something. And I'll leave it at that. I'll be intentionally ambiguous. But this is the kid with the Gadsden flag.
They know what the Gadsden flag is. That's a historical flag.
So they're the reason that they do not want the flag, the reason we do not want the flag displayed is due to its origins with slavery and slave trade.
This cunt, okay? I'm sorry. I don't use that word very often, but fuck this
I'm right
bitch.
with you. I'm right fucking with you, Steve.
I'm an Australian and I know that's not true. Come on.
It's association with slavery. Uh-huh. Okay. Like, are you fucking kidding me? This is a school administrator. This is one of our supposed educators. They are throwing history out the window.
At what point do they just ban the kid because he's white and white people have an association with slavery?
How many
Man.
LGBTQ flags does she have hanging in her classroom?
No
At least
shit.
two.
No shit. Well, I assume she's like a dean or something, principal, perhaps. But either way, fuck this cunt. Let's play
She
it
has
on.
that sanctimonious look about her. She's a principal.
She absolutely does.
Principal with no principles.
Well, and there was a picture I saw of this kid standing, back to the camera, looking at a car supposedly in the faculty lot that is just plastered with left-wing bumper stickers, and he's got his little backpack on. And oh man, it's just
We've got a bumper sticker dildos for Ukraine or something. It's perfectly fine.
God.
you literally can't make this shit up. It's so ridiculous.
That is what was as the reasoning behind the
I know it's a little quiet, but nothing I can do.
the Don't Tread on Me, which is the Gadsden flag.
Mom says
There he is.
the principal, whoever she is, she says the flag, the flag that says "Don't tread on me," and the mom goes, "You mean the Gadsden flag?" And she says, "Okay." So this bitch
You
literally
got his
doesn't.
smirk there too, right there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Can we give the kid a little patch that says "fuck around and find out"? Like that's just
Yeah.
so much better.
Dude, for real, his face is gonna be a meme. I can't zoom in, I don't think, but look at his fucking face right here.
No,
Okay, he looks so happy with himself, and he should be.
Dude,
Fuck this
I think
bitch.
his mom probably told him. I think his parents probably said, "Look, your fucking teachers are crazy.
Yeah.
We have to deal with it for now."
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. Oh, their mom's on the same team as son. I love to see it. I fucking love to see it.
So he's what's going to happen if he doesn't take it off?
He is able to go. I was actually just telling him, like, I was upset that he was missing so much school. I'm like, so I asked if can he just take his stuff out of his bag and go back to class? Like, I just want him to go back to class.
Okay, this is all about money, and I'll tell you why. When a kid's ass is not in the seat, when he is listed absent for any reason, expelled, suspended, what have you, it is literal dollars out of the school's budget. That's how it works, as far as I've been told. So she just wants his ass back in the chair, and this kid probably has a teacher who is a total psycho bitch, kind of like this one here.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
And she keeps kicking the kid out of her class because of the flag. Meanwhile, ironically, up here, there's an American flag hanging.
Why is that not yellow and blue
and rainbowy? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What country do you think you're in, bitch? I'm sorry.
I feel threatened by seeing that American flag there. I don't feel safe in that room.
I do too. I feel like my bonus hole feels like very threatened.
Dad can't go back. It's got a patch on it because we can't have that in and around other kids. So that's what I was trying to, and then he said you were close. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with slavery.
It has nothing to do with slavery.
School it, bitch.
She's acting as if it's like threatening the other students. We can't have that around the other students. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
We don't want anybody thinking here, right?
I guarantee if there's an American history book in that classroom, well, I guess I can't say because they've probably changed the fucking textbooks, but that flag is in the literature and it had nothing to do with slavery. Like, it's like nobody did their homework, first of all. They're just arbitrarily saying this kid, you know what it is? This kid probably is smarter than all of them combined. And all the teachers just fucking hate him because he's like a wicked smart little kid.
Mike, you don't remember the historical context when the blue-haired purple brigade saved the slaves during the Civil War?
Yeah.
Right. They teach these activists in these trainings, though, that libertarians are radical racists. So I bet that this teacher goes to because I've gone through, one of the things that I do is I'll go through some of these activist trainings that have they have these people set up in precincts all over the country, and the teachers and most of the people attending are this woman. They're all women like in their 40s and 50s who are being taught to see everything as racist, and they are taught probably more than anything else that libertarians are the worst racist of all.
It is
guarantee
truly
you she's in
astonishing.
An activist training. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to watch the rest? I mean, honestly, my favorite part was just the pretty like satisfied look on the kid's face when mom backed him up. He's like, mom's cool as hell. You know, and guess what? Mom set up the camera to secretly record. That's why the audio is not so great, because the camera's like in a purse probably or whatever.
Next to the baby. You saw the baby's foot.
Yeah, there's a baby on mama's lap. Mama bear. Don't fuck with mama bear, you know?
Baby's probably got that the flag on the the gas flag.
Yeah.
That's like the Revolutionary War patch that was displayed when they were fighting the British. Like that's the revolution. Maybe you're thinking of like the Confederate flag.
Okay, I
Is
am
there
just
history
here to
that you
enforce.
tell me?
No, I am here to enforce the policy that was provided by the district, and definitely you have every right to not agree with it. I mean,
Because the
absolutely.
ACLU says that he's allowed to wear that. If you like go on their website, it's like says in big letters.
All I'm saying is that
Unless there's like a ban on patches, period, like you said, there's no patches allowed at the school. You cannot display what you think or anything like that, or what cheer or anything like that. I think it's like one-sided, you know, because you allow some patches but not other patches.
I hope you guys can hear this. You know, I know it's kind of muffled, but yeah, mom's basically just like, yo, if he can't wear this patch, why can anybody wear any patch, right? Which is basically saying, like, do you want the school to be a non-free speech zone? You know, like, which I suppose it already kind of is. I mean, I remember fucking hating school from a gut level.
Oh yeah.
Even though I went to a good public school, so to speak, I was just like, the whole time I was like, I resented how I was treated by the grown-ups. I'm like, I don't belong to you. Like, fuck you, you know?
Yep. I can totally relate to that. I hated school from kindergarten.
Yep. I was like, I can go to the library and learn this shit. I don't need to be here.
Yeah.
Mike,
Half
bring
the
up the
time.
meme I just dropped in the chat. This is going to be the meme for the next 60 days. I can guarantee it. Variations of it.
Whoop. Just a moment. Working on it.
It's like, you know, it used to
The rule
crack
in that
me up.
district was
When I was a kid, I used to intentionally get into trouble like this to get
Oh my God.
sent to the library.
That's
so I could just read and be left alone.
This
Yeah,
is
exactly.
hilarious.
Relate to
It's
that.
This is funnier the more you look at it because, yeah. So the
Well,
meme
there you
says
go.
the meme says when some blue-haired chick tries to call you a racist, and he's got this smirk on his face, right?
He's like, oh yeah,
dude, and look at how fucking
Go, Mom.
fresh. Look at how fresh this kid looks. All right, he's got the clean pressed, collared shirt, the slick hair. This kid, he's got it going, man.
Future president of the United States.
Future president, definitely.
Yep, definitely.
And then you look at the blue-haired bitch. Even though she doesn't actually have blue hair, they just really shoddily like painted her hair blue for the meme. But
She's got
her
the face.
fucking face, fuck this.
It's
cunt.
Wah,
This
wah.
this is the living embodiment of tyranny right here. Like little
Yep.
T tyranny, like petty
Yeah.
tyrants.
Little TT tyranny.
Oh
What?
man, she reminds me of some of my teachers.
Tiny
Fuck her.
tyranny.
Yeah.
That's right.
So this has obviously happened before with this kid. 'Cause I think that mom probably, because of past experiences, told her son what was going on. Because the kid, and other times in the video, looked at the mom like he was ready for the way that she was going to react. And she brought up the district, and she was very prepared, and the teacher wasn't very prepared. It just makes me curious about what the rules of that district were. And there's probably, I'm guessing there's probably instances where everybody else in the class is wearing various other types of Ukraine flags or whatever.
Gay
but
flags.
this, yeah. So I think this mom was exposing something that had been going on for a long time. I think that's good. It's and that kid, he cracks me up. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he knew when to shut up, didn't he?
Oh,
he
he
did.
doesn't-
He did.
Smart
You can
kid.
tell.
He
Smart
doesn't
kid.
say much. He doesn't say much, but he kind of sticks up for himself. He's very calm. He's very confident, and he's respectful. Even though this cunt, and he knows she's a cunt. He's thinking to himself, "Fuck this bitch." But
He lets her play herself though. He lets her just
Oh,
throw
yeah.
the mental gymnastics out so much that she slicks
This-
herself up multiple times.
I'm
Dude, he
saying
looks like
The-
a kid with good parents, is what he looks like. He looks
He
like
looks
a
like
kid
a-
whose parents empower him, is what he looks like to me.
He's definitely read The Art of War.
The kid looks like a parent. He looks like he'd be in a 1950s household with a wife.
Right? Yeah.
dude. I swear, this is a future politician and a good one, perhaps.
Did anyone hear the recent press conference in DC where they were lamenting the fact that conservatives were using verbal jujitsu and were winning all the time? And they were like, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. And we need to be able to throw them off the floor of the House and the Senate when they start doing that because it's not fair and blah, 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 blah.
That's crazy.
Oh my God.
Here's the photo. This is the photo I was talking about. So he's standing in front of presumably like a teacher or administrator's car.
Look at that train
also,
wreck. Burn
Also,
that
I'm
fucking
noticing this is in North Carolina, and you know what's funny is they didn't bother to cover the license
Yeah.
plate number.
Well, they dox us all the time.
Exactly.
I mean, it's in public.
Fuck
There is
'em,
no,
dude.
there is no mandate
Right.
to not disclose that information. It's in public.
So
tough.
we've got stickers that range from don't be trashy with a recycle symbol,
And you got blue hair. Cool.
We've got don't what does this say?
Don't mess
give
with
your-
Texas.
Don't. It's something about trans kids.
Don't
Don't
hurt
mess
me.
with
Don't
trans
mess
kids.
with
Don't
trans
don't
kids.
mess with
Yeah.
trans kids.
And they made it look like Texas.
Yes. Make America green again. I'd rather be slowly consumed by moss. Okay.
That could
That's
be
probably that
arranged.
teacher. I bet that's
We're-
the teacher.
It might be.
Yeah.
And you know what this is referring to is human composting.
Yes,
which
it is.
we've talked about earlier in the WTF forum days. I can't read this one, but it's a slurry of nonsense. Then we look at this. Look, based J-Rod for VP Revolution. He's running for student body. He
He
says
should run for
base.
VP with Trump. That kid will
Yeah,
win.
There
no
you go.
kidding, no kidding.
Yeah,
Got
look,
the
he's
Doge
heaps
thing
better than the
going.
current guy.
he's got a Doge button.
Doge. Yep.
And he's
Yeah.
got a "Don't Tread on Me," Gadsden flag, and a couple other things I can't make out. But this little kid's
Something
a
to do with
badass,
arms.
bro. This little kid is so cool.
Okay, so this was in
Gotta
Colorado
get him on the show.
Springs.
Oh, was it? Well, this is a
Yes,
North
so-
Carolina license plate, huh?
Yes,
Interesting.
it is. So, and I was checking because I live in North Carolina, and I was gonna see what county it was, but it looks like this happened in Colorado Springs.
Okay.
Which is a total rotten liberal dirtbag shithole.
Yeah.
Colorado's
Actually-
going to crap.
Ashley, can you do some boots on the ground investigation and just pretend that you're enrolling as a child at that school and ask her questions about flags and stuff, and we can record it?
Yeah, I'll go play on the basketball team or something over there in the 8th grade.
Yeah. Brad could pass for a 12-year-old. So young, right?
An unshaven 12-year-old.
Epstein
Well-
hates it when his 12-year-olds don't shave. Come on.
Yeah. Bum burn.
So I figure maybe we shift gears to Maui. I know it's kind of in some ways old news, but it seems like, I don't know if you guys experienced this, but it seems like there was a media blackout essentially on the matter. Like nothing has been coming out, but then all of a sudden everything's like surfacing.
Yeah.
Seemed like the
There's
algorithm.
There's no profile filters for it, is there? Like,
So there is, though. There's a lot of filters and algorithms that are pushing anything about Lahaina down in the rankings, so you'll never see it. So I have friends there who, remember when I said when this first happened, I said they were blockading people in so they couldn't leave.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's true.
It was true. So now that that's come out, guess what? Sounds like Lahaina has its own militia, and
No
they're
shit.
pissed, and
No
they're
shit.
they're literally willing to start burning houses and shit. They are not happy. They want to take
Start
the
with
island,
Oprah,
the
start
whole
with Oprah,
island.
Start with Oprah.
What's that?
That's
Start with Oprah. Start with Oprah. Start with Oprah.
Well,
yes.
that may happen.
So when
That's
you're saying
insane.
militia, you're saying the locals?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, okay, gotcha.
Because they got nothing to lose. You have
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
bunch
exactly.
of people with nothing to lose, and they're not even being promised anything by the Biden administration. No help, no money, no nothing.
Oh, they got $700. Didn't you hear?
That's what I say. No nothing.
700.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Buy a few rounds.
Where's it going? Where's my mailbox?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
no
gotta get it
shit.
to 'em.
Get out of here.
And I
So-
saw some charity thing that Oprah was starting, and another
Garbage.
guy too. Was it
With The
The
Rock,
Rock?
yeah.
The Rock.
That'll
yeah.
help her buy more land. That's what that's going for.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, where's their
Yeah.
money?
Now,
Yeah,
I did hear someone reporting that not that many people were donating to these campaigns. Now, how accurate that is, how long that's going to hold up, I don't know, but I actually felt a little hopeful by hearing that people are maybe actually waking up to these creeps.
Who trusts
Right,
them
because they don't know where
with
the
that
money goes. They don't trust the organizations with it, so yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
wondering too whether, like Rob was just saying, these people have nothing left to lose. So it's like, well, to me, that's probably the next step in this experiment. Really, in one way, it's like, well, let's see
wanna
what
see-
people who have nothing left to lose can do.
Right. Or what they will
Yeah.
do.
Let's get the
Right.
data
You're
on
gonna-
that.
If you're gonna game something out and like trial balloon something, what's better than doing it on an island?
An
right?
island that's all
Yeah,
isolated.
I-
It's perfect.
They can't
Oh,
have
I-
people come in like the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys or anything come in to help them because they just shut them down at the airport.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Too many variables to get outside the plan. They want the
And-
plan
Yeah.
to go
To
their
me,
way.
it's like
Perfect petri
this is
dish.
a wake up
Yep.
call to bit like we talk about being prepared for stuff and everything. Like you talk about it being an experiment. I think this is like the grid. If the grid were going to get shut down, I think sometimes we think, well, the switch is going to be turned, but their grid got shut down. It just got shut down with fire.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
their phones didn't work, their internet didn't work. They had these blockades you talked about. They couldn't get out of there. So the shit literally hit the fan with them. All the situations everybody talked about preparing for. I think it's a wake up call for everybody. What happened in Hawaii?
Whoever's
Yes.
blocking
And-
that road basically needs to catch some. That's
Yeah.
all there is to it. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Jesus Christ blocking that road. If there's a fire, you know what? I'm grabbing the 8 or 9 people in the cars behind me, and we're going to rush you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
And here's the other thing I was thinking about this too is that Hawaii is alleged to have been one of the most compliant places during lockdowns.
Yep.
So it is to start here with the trial balloon. It's very interesting to see the the group that they're trying it on first, right? And I would expect that maybe you're going to be seeing very similar situations pop up in other places. I mean, I know there were major fires in Australia already. Maybe that was part of it. But in the United States, right? Because the Southeast United States is very different than Hawaii. So is the Northeast. I mean, so I would expect different responses in different locations in the United States.
If anything, the Hawaiians are like probably one of the most sort of intact communities because of being an island community. Like it's cultural there to sort of, it's almost like everyone's part of the same clan, right?
Generational, yeah.
Yeah. And I know there's lots of transplants, right? It's not all like native quote unquote Hawaiians, but there's, from what I gather, I've never been, but there seems to be a cool, like almost welcoming, like maybe not fully at first to transplants, but like if you earn respect, like you will be accepted as a quote unquote Hawaiian, even if you're white or what have you.
Well, it's more so a nation state than it is really a state of America.
Yeah.
True,
Right.
true.
It's just another Polynesian country.
Well, and supposedly there's a U.S. military base, like obviously, like in one of the other islands, but there was no like military dispatch to provide aid of any kind for like
yeah, and none of the
days.
alarms worked. You know,
They were actually
There's a
blocked.
story a few years ago. The alarm went off that a nuclear bomb was going to hit
Yes.
Hawaii,
Yeah,
and then it was
yeah.
a false alarm. But now none of the alarms work.
Right.
Did you hear the excuse for that though, Bradley? The excuse was those alarms are exclusively for tsunamis, and if they turned that on, all the people on the island would run into the fire instead of away from it. That's why they didn't turn it on.
Yeah,
Sure.
But that was a lie, right? Because my understanding is that alarm system was supposed to be used and deployed in all separate kinds of emergency. Is that
Exactly.
not is that not
Yes.
right?
I believe
Okay.
there's a website. I heard somebody say it's listed. There's like 5 or 6 different scenarios.
Yeah, so that was just a total lie to people that live there, like in a small island.
Well, and it's
I
just so insulting. It's insulting to
Yes.
people's intelligence first and foremost. Like,
Yep, humiliation.
yeah. So
Okay, so my
Go ahead,
contact
go ahead.
said that the Marines went just to go ask the feds and the local police if they needed help, and they got shot at, and they
So,
returned fire.
there's
It
a
was
ton
literally
of
a
weird.
firefight.
There's tons and tons of weird shit, man. I haven't heard about that, but you say you got a source. I mean, I don't
I
doubt it
have
necessarily.
a couple sources, a couple of
Dude.
them, and I was like, "Holy crap!" So that's what's turning the tide against, the feds and Biden. They're like, you know what? We don't care what the other islands are going to do, but we're going to take this one back, and you could do whatever the hell you want with that.
So I want to play a little bit. I covered this in depth. I just decided, like, I started preparing for this WTF forum, and I found, excuse me, way too many clips, right? Way too many clips to do necessarily justice on the forum, because we'd be talking about each one for an hour, right? But I spliced them all together, and I didn't really interject much. The episode ended up being like an hour long. I'm just going to play like maybe 5 or 6 minutes of it, and I may kind of jump around just a hair. So bear with me, but some of these are really important. So I want to try to kind of find the highlights with me.
I was in my truck going to check on some customers' properties, and all of a sudden all the roads were being blocked off right in front of me, and from the cops, and I would go to the next street and that would be blocked off, and the next one, and they just blocked everything off, forced everybody down on Front Street, in which then the flames were coming over our vehicles, not on our vehicles, but the flames are coming over top of our vehicles.
What street are you on at this point in time?
Front Street.
You're on Front Street
Yes.
itself.
Yep.
So you got directed onto Front Street.
Yep.
Where did you start when you started this journey?
I was going down the highway and they blocked it off and wouldn't let me go any further.
So you were coming from Laniapoko?
No, I was coming from Waikuli.
Why? Okay, so you're heading
Going down the
you're
highway.
heading south.
And then they stopped us from going up on the bypass. Then they wouldn't let me go past the bypass to the other exits to go up there.
So you couldn't go up the bypass.
No. And then all of a sudden they said, everybody's off, get off this highway, go down this way, down into town. Then they started blocking everything off there. And then you were down on Front Street. and I got all the way down to Safeway.
So you got corralled onto Front
Yes,
Street. You
yes.
started on Honopilani Highway.
Yes.
And you ended up on Front Street.
Yes, couldn't go anywhere. They just said, go north, go north, go north. And then when we got on Front Street, the embers were coming over the buildings and landing on our vehicles. And we're all in a line trying to get to the end of Front Street to go north, like they told us to, not knowing that the police blocked off the end of Front Street so nobody could move. And then everybody panicked and they all started everybody went up on the sidewalks and through yards, took out the other lane. And then all of a sudden nobody could move anywhere. So all I did was try to inch my way over to another yard and drive up through a sidewalk, come back around, and then the cops were moving around one exit. So I ended up getting up on the highway, even though they tried to direct me another way. And then I hightailed it to home.
Missing. Food and water for the victims was being withheld. Victims, along with the rest of the world, are still being lied to. Mainstream media is starting to publish articles like this one, which says, in deadly Maui fires, many had no warning and no way out. Those who dodged barricades survived. As flames tore through a West Maui neighborhood, car after car of fleeing residents headed for the only paved road out of town in a desperate race for safety. And car after car was turned back toward the rapidly spreading wildfire by a barricade blocking access to Highway 30. One family swerved around the barricade and was safe in a nearby town 48 minutes later. Another drove their four-wheel drive car down a dirt road to escape. A key takeaway is that only those who disobeyed survived. Children.
There seems to be a huge emphasis on ensuring that the media and anyone else can't see what's going on here in Lahaina, West Maui. There are miles and miles of this black fence going up that was not here before, that is obscuring ground zero and making sure no one can see what's going on inside of there from the road. No one can get in there. No one can take any pictures. And then I've also seen these weird foreign police cars showing up, these special police, I'm not sure what to call them. This is a Nissan, but there's quite a large presence of these standing guard around the perimeter. We've also lost our ability to fly drones really anywhere near this area. Now, this 20-second clip here that I tried to get out of my car and show what was going on, I was almost immediately, after these 20 seconds, National Guard came, chased me off, yelled at me, told me to get back in my car and keep moving. Anyway, guys, there's a lot more to come. Thank you very much for watching, and please stay tuned.
So anybody want to talk about the drones real quick? The drone situation?
That stood out to me too. Yeah.
Mike, you're cut off.
Sorry, muted. Yeah, go ahead. There's a lot here, so let's talk.
So let's break it up a little bit, so we're just not, watching a movie in the classroom because the teacher don't want to do their job.
Hey, there's just a ton, man. There's a ton.
I know it's huge. I don't even know if we can. To go through it all, just like you said, it'd be hours. Even what you probably got at least 30 minutes, right?
So I've skipped, I'm kind of doing there's a few longer clips that I've skipped over the last halves of or whatever, but again, let us know what you think at this point.
Let's talk about the drones, because that recently happened here in New Mexico. I've had people approach me because, just look what's behind me. I'm the electronics guy and shit. So asking me, hey, my drone takes off and it just lands. It won't take off. And I'm like, well, what you have to do is you have to put a secondary camera on there that's not linked to the GPS, and you have to fly without GPS. Because the moment you turn the GPS on, it goes ahead and it lands the drone. And there's no good way anyone's found around it just yet.
So it's like they intercept it when they're able to track that GPS?
They're sending out like a beacon. They've put anti-drone beacons in all the new traffic cameras that they're putting up, is what I figured out.
Yeah.
So I can fly over here, but if I go towards the intersection down the street, even my manual drone that doesn't fly with GPS, which is a tiny whoop, it's an acrobatic drone, it's actually getting jammed. Something is sending it the FR Sky signal to full throttle up. and it keeps trying to take off, and I have to catch it pretty quick, and I slam the stick down, and I got to go full down just to be able to land. So they're doing some dirty shit.
Yeah. You see them here as well. They're mounted on like a Wi-Fi booster are mounted on traffic lights with a camera facing down that's supposedly to check if you're on your phone, but it's got a receiver and a booster on top of it as well. So it's not just receiving signals, it's sending them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's sending the FrSky code across the spectrum. Oh, and one thing I've noticed too is if I change the channel, so on a manual drone, like a Tiny Whoop or, acrobatic drone, you could switch channels. Some channels it's not using. The ones that it's hitting the most are the ones that most of the consumer drones transmit on. So
can I please ask a dumb question?
Go ahead.
They don't use crystals anymore, do they? Or do they?
Wait, for what?
For the frequencies.
Yeah. Yeah, there's crystals in there. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what's so you'll have like a main crystal that gives you your base frequency, and then you'll have microcontroller dividers that give you all the rest, or multipliers that give you all the rest of your frequencies. So, but there'll be a main crystal on there. So yeah.
Right. Okay.
So they don't want you to be able to see what they're doing.
Clearly. I mean,
big time. They're going out of their way.
Those guys don't realize that, like that, because that's really good information. Do you think? Because when I hear them say that, like I want to hear that explanation that you gave, so that to give credibility, or at least not I don't doubt, but I always question. So like that's like really good information. Do you feel like they probably don't know that stuff because they don't have your background?
Normal people aren't going to know this.
I would have never known any of that. Yeah.
There's a few guys on YouTube that have been talking about it now too, but I've been talking about it for years, because I've noticed weird things going on with the frequency band, etc. Also too, have any of you guys bought walkie-talkies or have ham radio?
That's what I was asking about the crystals.
Yeah. You will hear those guys complain to no end on Reddit. Now, here's what's interesting. Their complaints and their investigations where they're trying to triangulate where these jammers are being shut down on Reddit and social media. Again, blackout on this situation.
Wow.
So
they
don't want us to be able to communicate.
Radio was the last option, and they're going after that too. It makes sense.
They want to trap you on the cell phone. That's what they want. This is it. The only thing that works.
They sense a growing, I have to choose my words carefully, but a growing discontent, right?
Yeah.
And they're getting ahead of it.
Yeah. They know they did this, and they
and
know
it's always
what
been
we're
about
about to do.
controlling the communication channels too. That's always what propaganda and controlling people.
We are going to have to go back. We're going to have to go back to handwritten, like book ciphers.
Yep.
Delivered by motorcycle couriers, man. I guarantee it.
Carrier pigeons, man.
Yeah.
They were the first drones. Were carrier pigeons, and that was in the late 1800s. Some dude, I can't remember his name, he strapped a tiny little camera to a pigeon, and that was the first drone.
Well, they'll probably kill all the pigeons. They'll kill all the.
I mean, murdering pigeons. And
they already wiped out. They wiped out the passenger pigeons.
Yeah.
100 years ago.
Well, no, they came back. I thought they brought the passenger pigeon back recently.
Well, there used to be flocks that would literally block out the sun.
Yes. And they used to just shoot randomly into the flocks over and over. It was like a pastime every year.
Yeah. Any other thoughts before I give you more of this insanity?
That is the most American sounding thing ever. Let's just shoot randomly into the flocks.
Yeah. I want to know about this bloody black wall. I mean, what the hell is with the black wall?
They already killed all the bison. Got to kill something else.
Supposedly, Stella, this wall is well beyond, in some places,
That's insane.
The Ground Zero site. Like, there are people who apparently live miles away from anything that was burned who are not being allowed access to their homes. Like, this is
just them saying we've got something to hide. It's just so blatant.
Well, their explanation is that they don't want anything to disrupt the recovery.
It's a crime scene, basically.
It's a crime scene is what it is.
So put a chain link fence up then so we can see.
Wait, ATF, you can't come into my house. I don't want you to disrupt my recovery.
This here is a line of people attempting to receive like a pass, like a permission slip to go back to their homes. And I'll only play a minute of this or so, but there's thousands of people standing in line all day. There's like 5 or 6 officials like issuing these waivers. It's insane.
Earlier at Nepealy Park, I didn't feel safe speaking freely about the situation while I was there, but the police are issuing permission slips for residents to freely come and go to their homes to other parts of the island.
How long have you guys been in line to get these? 3 hours? Been in line 3 hours, but it's probably longer now, you know?
Okay, I just didn't want to talk over where I was actually speaking live there, but I'm going to walk along the line so you can see there are thousands of people here at this park. There were 2 separate locations where they told people to come get these permission slips, which would allow them to leave their houses, travel to other.
All right. He's a slow talker, so I'll say this. Apparently, this guy had to basically hike up the hill to connect to a cell phone tower on a neighboring island to get his videos out. Again, like part of the control of information here. And, you know, I don't know if we can necessarily trust this stranger from YouTube, but obviously the video is real, you know.
Is this the Hawaii real estate guy? Because there's a channel called Hawaii Real Estate, and that guy is actually, he's got his own Starlink thing, I believe. I think that was him that he's got in the back of his truck, and that's why, might not have been him, but somebody has got a Starlink thing, and that's how they're getting their footage out, supposedly.
Well, they apparently have these, you might have seen in that video a sign that said like free Wi-Fi and phone charging. Supposedly the Wi-Fi just is not working, you know?
Of course not.
Right.
It's the government Wi-Fi.
Right.
What did you
Yeah.
expect?
Right.
It worked about as well as the damn alerts. It worked about as well as the supply of water to put the fire out. It worked about as well as anything else has up until this point. So,
supplies, yep.
And am I wrong? Isn't BlackRock and other companies already inquiring about?
Yeah, through front
purchasing this
companies.
land?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, we haven't found your child's remains yet, but would you like to sell your property to us?
Yeah.
I mean,
let you
if we
know.
find
We'll
the
let you
body,
know.
we'll give it back. We
Little-
promise.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the sad thing is people are going to be so desperate for money, you know?
You're right.
Yeah.
It's
And
just-
I,
it's a
I don't know if
perfect situation for
insurance,
that.
I don't know if insurance is going to like, I don't know
No,
how
by the
that's
time
all.
the government processes the claims, you know, I mean, you'll be on the street.
Here's the interesting thing, though. Going back to the militia that's there, even if they wanted to fight back, right, and stop these people coming and buying up the land and taking it, there's no way to resupply them because they're on an island. Like, you could have people from the mainland America or the bigger islands in Hawaii that want to help them. All the military has to do is set up a no-fly zone and blockade it with some ships. There's no way to help the people out if they try to fight back.
Again,
It has to be
a lot
preppers,
of these people,
like super fucking preppers is what it has
no,
to be.
not even. From what I'm hearing, it's just people who've lost so much that they're just like, you know, I'm going to die on the street. And you know what? If I'm going to die anyway, I'm taking somebody with me.
Yeah.
There's people to blame here.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I heard. And I was like, can you not say that over my phone? Dude.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
if the insurance companies aren't going to pay out, it's pretty.
So
The
apparently
insurance
Maui,
companies are going to starve them out, so they're in a position that they have to sell. That's
Yeah,
what I
it's not gonna
foresee
be a
happening.
choice.
And I think the weak response by the feds to give these people any kind of funding is also part of that.
Yep, definitely.
I was curious to know what the total population of the island of Maui is. It's 166,000 people, roughly. So if this became a island-wide thing, that's a lot of fucking people. I mean, Rob
less now.
or anybody, do you know how strict Hawaiian like gun laws are? I have no clue.
Here's the thing. Everyone has boats. That's number one. You know what that is? There's your gun show right there. Right there. You know, you don't need to, you don't forget, you know, a lot of organized crime is on the islands. So if you want guns, very easy. And I'm sure China's already stacking them on ships the moment they seen the first little flicker of fire over there. They were like, oh, yeah, we'll show you. We'll go ahead and arm your people and you can deal with that shit.
Yeah, I heard that a little while ago that Hawaii in general is fairly kind of mafia run.
Very. It's very mafioso.
In the grand
Wait, are you
scheme,
telling me that
lanes that they can get stuff from the black market of Southeast Asia anyway, so it's not that far away.
Exactly.
Are you
Ships
guys
are
telling
coming,
me
going all the time. One more shipment is just looks like another. Nobody's going to know.
Yep.
It's almost like government in general is like kind of an organized crime syndicate or something?
No way, really? Whoa. That's why they don't like organized crime. They don't like competition. They know it works. They know it's effective. That's why they say, don't be violent. Because they know, they fear that. Because it works. And it works against them just as much as anything else.
They want the monopoly on violence. It's their violence,
That's right.
no one else's.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a bunch of locals at like some kind of town hall meeting. And
Gonna
this
need
is
a
particular.
license.
This is.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I was just going to say this is particularly like telling of the emotion.
Not right, in my opinion. Please
Sorry,
stay tuned.
almost there.
To ensure that we still stay in this place we call home.
This is a lawsuit that was put on you yesterday at 4:35 p.m.
Oh, thank
it's
you.
a quo warranto that's supposed to be limiting your powers, questioning the validity of this entire group. People from Lahaina sent you this quo warranto, yet you still feel like it's okay to sit here and talk about programs and housing and how much money you guys lost.
And I'm actually speaking to each of you sitting around this table. Is your name listed as a stakeholder of any of the redevelopment plans regarding a smart city? I can tell you, Department of Planning, DLNR, DBED, Housing, all of these agencies, and I'm not saying to you directly, but you're here representing these agencies. Therefore, it is your responsibility to tell the truth. Each one of these agencies have signed on as stakeholders for the redevelopment of a smart city in Maui.
Just want to remind you guys that you guys work for us. You guys work for us. I don't know if you guys forget. You know, 1,000 people could come up here and say that they want something. I mean, the way it looks, you guys just go with what is going to further your political career. It's just like we come here to talk about something and then you guys start fighting back with us. You work for us. You don't talk to your boss like that, right? Who talks to their boss like that? Nobody talks to their boss like that. Or you kind of go talk to him because he got security. Look at Josh Green, how weak man. What happened? I came inside, what? He got to go check his bevities? What is going on? He's supposed to
Please
be
not
busy.
that. Let's not do
Yeah.
that. This is
No,
not that kind of a meeting. It's not a political meeting or a campaign meeting.
Yeah, no,
This
I'm
is
not
serious
campaigning. But
business.
you saying that is very that really bothers me. You're not being a waiter. You talk to your boss like that. I'm your boss. And for real, these people, they are your boss. Shame is when you do something behind everybody's back. Enough is enough, huh? No. More screwing over the people of Hawaii. More, how much? I'm not going to say it again. I'm going to talk about Green. That's your guy's leader. He's not even here. He's a guy, he only signs the bill to further his political career. So what is next? He go for president. And that's what you guys look for. Oh, that's the guy I look up to. The guy who screws everybody over to get to the top.
I've given testimony so many times, and most of the time it's like this. Backs are turned. People don't listen. You look like you're sleeping. Where's the emotion? Where's your heart? And when you think about these actions, when you think about the work you do, think about all those people, like this guy on his phone right now. It's insulting. It's insulting. Do not forget the people. And Green's actions right there, getting taken out by his handler. Come on, guys. I saw all your faces. I think some of you were shocked too, except for the people whispering in the front, because he warned you he was going to walk away. You want to know why? Because he never wants to hear our voices. He wants to silence us every time. He does not listen. I am asking all of you at this table to make sure he listens. But we know very well that you guys, as the third largest stakeholders, the state, do want that land and can take it when you deem it a natural disaster. And that is disgusting. And that is why I'm also here today, because someone needs to call that out. We wanted the samples right away. You guys stopped the people from going in.
I know it says on there on the door, there is no placard.
Yeah.
This is like, so Ukraine committed to be the first smart nation in 2019. Everything, they've promoted this. They got this guy who goes around with the head of the U.S. AID, Samantha Powers, who's married to Barack Obama's propagandist Cass Sunstein, talking about how it's going to be the first ever. In a twist of fate, we have expedited this thing we've always wanted, the first ever smart country ever. And she even talks about how the war, even though it's awful, it has made this happen even faster because we have to destroy the infrastructures so that we can build it back better. And they're talking about the smart city stuff right there. And I typed in, and the first thing I typed smart city Hawaii and put it in quotes to do the modifiers. And the first thing that comes up is the debunks, which makes me think there's something to it. So I look at the debunks, and the way the fucking debunks always works is they take a claim that nobody's really claiming, and they debunk that and try and make you think that they're debunking all of it. So the debunk
That's a red
claim
herring
is that,
argument, by the way.
it's a straw man shit.
Yeah.
It's just like Maui hosted a conference saying that they want to turn the entire city into a smart city that was hosted back in January. The facts. That conference was not about turning Hawaii into a smart city. And those are all of the links. But then when you look at the reality of it, they've had a smart city grid program going on in Hawaii since 2015, at least, maybe even earlier than that. And it's on some of the state websites of Hawaii. So that's obviously a goal that's going on in Hawaii, like it was in Ukraine, like it is in many other places. Was this fire done because of that? I'm not saying that, but it's definitely something that, as Samantha Powers talks about with Ukraine, is going to expedite the process of destroying that infrastructure so that they can build it back better into a smart city. It just pisses me off when they fucking debunk this shit that is obviously valid if you just look past the fucking first page of a Google search.
That's been going on forever, though. You go on to anything like Snopes or whatever, and it'll say,
Snopes,
you know what I mean? It's funny because you go all the way through the debunking. Well, it's not this, it's not that, and but yeah, it actually is this. Way at the end,
right?
You know,
right,
I'm like,
buried at the bottom.
Little tiny text.
I just go and read it backwards.
Yeah,
I go to the bottom
Yeah,
first,
exactly.
and then read it there, and then I go, oh, look, there it is.
Yep, that's a good way to do it. And also, don't forget that
that way, then they could say they're not lying because it's actually in there.
Absolutely,
but it's way at the end.
Totally, dude. Just like the 51 intel agencies didn't say that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. They said it had all the earmarks
Yes.
of Russian disinformation. We didn't
Whatever
say
that is. It's bullshit, in other words. It has all the bullshit that it might be goddamn Russian disinformation.
Hello, is this thing on? You jackasses. Suck it.
I like the bullhorn, Rob. That's great.
Yeah, I do too.
Let's not forget the
I'm
tactic
sorry,
of
I had to go full rage against somebody's mom, who's a liberal. Anyway,
let's not forget the tactic of rebranding, because the smart cities, well, I don't know about over there, but over here, I guess it must be global. The smart cities are urban design framework now. Like if you talk about a smart
that's
city.
how they're calling it over there.
Yeah, it's not a smart city. Oh no, it's not a smart city. Well, anyway, onto this urban design framework.
Go fuck
20-minute
it's not a
neighborhood.
penis in your butt. It's just a phallic-like thing somewhere in your digestive tract.
Fold
So-
up,
so-
suck on your own dick, and roll down a giant hill. Whoever came up with that.
Rob, it's not a penis. It's a lady dick. Okay.
Lady dick.
Yeah,
suck
that's
on
it.
your own lady dick.
It's
And
a
did you-
lady bonus appendage, right?
Yes.
Also, I think that Trump referred to them as freedom cities. So rebranding is underway
yes.
as well.
Screw him too with that bullshit.
Of course he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Oh,
A
come to my
democracy
Trump
city.
prison. It's so much better than everyone else's.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pot is just painted in the stars and stripes. That's what makes it a freedom city.
No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
Got a-
Oh shit!
got
I
an
can't go anywhere.
Plastic eagle on top.
Why are these bars here? Well, they're red, white, and blue. So quit bitching.
Yeah, you're
The
allowed to
freedom
masturbate
bars.
in public in America as long as your dick is Ukrainian gold and green. Is all you can jerk
There you
off
go.
whenever you want.
As long as it's Pride
go.
Week, it's fine.
Right.
Surprised there's not a Zelensky face flag.
Okay,
Dude,
so
somebody
before,
needs to do the Zelensky like Lenin. Somebody needs to do that. That'd be great.
before we move on to this, I was wondering, and it does sound like people of Hawaii are waking up to the global agenda, because I was thinking before when Rob was saying that they, some people wanted to take their home back, and I was like thinking to myself, they're not going to be able to do that unless they understand who is pulling the strings, that this isn't like a Joe Biden thing. This is so much bigger than that. So I hope that they're recognizing it. It does sound like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and they're realizing that their local administrators are basically pawns in the great game too. The problem is they're sort of the enforcement pawns that allow this shit to happen against the people's will. Why are we waving?
Sorry, guys, I've got to jump off. I'll catch you next time.
Oh,
Good chatting.
Drew.
See you, Drew.
He's got
See
a
you, bub.
life and stuff.
Take it easy, man.
All right, take care, man.
So I skipped over this Asian lady just because she's kind of hard to understand. But the last one is kind of the mic drop and talking about like recognizing the big picture bullshit. This lady kind of sums it up well.
Josh Green removed himself so that real change can take place.
What all of you have forgotten here, including the governor, who walked out of this office before he could hear public hearing. This emergency proclamation is a fall.
This is about unity, and this is about coming together and fighting for the rights of the people. Climate change does not exist. Okay?
Excuse me. Okay, I appreciate your comments again. I do, but we really need to stick to the items on the agenda. It is
I don't care
11:10.
about your agenda. You know what? Your agenda can kiss my ass.
Woo!
I liked that one.
Go lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It reminds me
Wow.
of people who go to those mask mandate like school board meetings. So of course, this is a lot more consequential with these people in these immediate circumstances, but it does have the feel of people waking up to it, and it just fucking. I mean, I can't imagine what it'd be like to. I think about whenever I've thought about a fire situation. It's like I've always imagined it as being within the four walls of a house, and if you could just get to the outside. But for them, that's not that was not getting to safety there. It's just a horrifying.
There were 90-mile-an-hour winds. The fire spread at
It's
roughly
awful.
60 miles an hour.
It's unreal.
And I saw
Unreal
some
to even
videos.
imagine.
I saw videos of like inside of people's cars. I'm not even going to show it here. It's horrific. It looks like a hellscape.
Brought to you by the Biden administration.
Yeah. And Lockheed
Pfizer.
Martin.
And Raytheon.
What cause? So they
Yeah.
don't even know. Like they have the speculation of the causes. Of course, the climate change issue, which was brought up there, which even if someone believes in the, so they have. Do you believe in climate change? Well, what does that exactly mean? You know, there's such a broad ranging explanation of what that could possibly.
No, the
We
climate's
can't have
always
wind
exactly the
anymore.
same.
General.
We gotta have giant wind turbines to block the wind. Okay.
Right.
And then
It's just-
we
so
won't have any
fucking
more fire.
insulting. It just, do you believe in it? Yes or no? Fuck you. You're obviously trying to con me into going along with something that is, we have to do this thing that is going to cost everybody some bullshit for the sake of humanity 40 years. It's so stupid. And the fact that they're pushing an explanation like that onto people who just lost their entire lives, I can see why people are pissed off there. Totally. But what explanation have they actually given for that? I haven't heard one yet. Have you guys?
There's nothing. There's meanderings. Now, NOAA, interestingly enough, just released a new report that says that basically climate change is inconsequential. Just released it. This is Biden's
That's racist,
NOAA.
dude. It's racist.
Good.
Yeah.
All the
Terrorist.
wind had a little mustache on it.
His little hair mustache.
Says, "We shall burn your little island now."
Sounded German, the tornado.
Yes, that's why it burned all the color people.
Oh shit!
People of color get to burn because the little Nazi wind has come.
You can see it just whip right around all the white people in the middle of the road.
It does. It goes around them. It's just like the bullets. The bullets only from an AR-15 only shoot transgendered, undocumented, illegal alien, black abortion babies who are in the middle of a trans op.
I believe the white people were all told to wear blue that day.
Oh, how about that? Blue for Ukraine, yay! Or Israel. Uh-oh.
Well, the
That's an
lasers don't
interesting
get
shade
the
of blue
blue
you
people,
got
do
here.
they?
I was gonna say it blocks the laser beams.
Yep.
Now, if you wear like a Zelensky mask for Halloween, you will get laid by like dozens of gay liberal men that evening.
Okay, Rob, let's talk about this theory about the laser not affecting blue. Have you heard this?
Depends on the frequency.
Of the laser?
One that BA. Oh, by the way, I keep getting like, you'll normally get an invitation to apply for a job, and you'll get like 1, maybe 2 from BAE Systems to work on their laser program. Guess how many I've gotten in like the last month? And I got phone calls too. 4. 4, which is very unusual. And here's what's weird. I'm not really even qualified for the job, but they're bugging the shit out of me. And I'm like, what is this going to be, a hush gig? Because defense contractors do that, shut people up. They'll give them a job, giveaway job. Maybe you don't even have to show up for it.
Wow, yeah.
And you just
sign
get
the
paid.
NDA and we'll pay you.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. They want to get me on another NDA, and I'm like, fuck you. I'm having too much fun over here. You kiss my ass. So, but so their laser systems, again, they use a microwave beam to basically punch a hole like maybe a couple milliseconds or less than a millisecond before they actually turn on the laser, which then goes down that trough. So the microwave is a frequency multiple of the actual laser that's going down that trough. So what it does is it acts as a constructive interference and increases not just the ability of the laser to punch through atmospheric conditions, but it also acts to amplify it. And depending on what frequency the laser they're using is, blue, I think blue, I want to say blue stops
666.
infrared.
666 is what I heard, like the frequency.
66.6, isn't it? Or something.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
I don't know if that's
is it
legit.
megahertz, gigahertz? What
I
are
don't
you
know.
talking about?
I
here?
wouldn't know. Yeah.
I would think,
I think
it
it's
would
the
be
the light wavelength.
Oh, so that would be maybe terahertz, I think. Laser, because they just recently came up with the ability to be able to miniaturize terahertz lasers, which changes
450 to 495
changes a lot of
nanometers.
things. Yeah, but I don't know. I think that's nanometers is going to be in terahertz. So,
So this was shared.
Here it is, 670 to 610 terahertz.
Okay, there you go. And I've been talking about terahertz lasers for a very long time. Now, also, so it's not just to match the frequency. If it's a destructive interference frequency of the laser, so it can be a half wave, quarter wave, etc. Right? It'll also dampen it considerably. So.
Yeah, that's talking pure blue, of course.
Yeah,
I was going to
So
say
the
there's
RGB.
obviously a spectrum of blue, and if 670 to 610, that's suspiciously close to 666. It's definitely
Right, of course it is.
Right. But this here
Well,
is
666 is within that, so it would be 670 to 610, isn't it? Yeah, 666 is within that.
Yeah, it is 670 to 610. It's on the upper end of it. So a leap forward for terahertz lasers. Yay.
This is from the horse's mouth, as we might say.
And it
This
is a blue laser, by the way. It is a blue laser. So.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what the Air Force, Navy, basically what they're admitting to at this point.
We're looking at exploring the capabilities that directed energy has to offer against counter UAS, counter unmanned aircraft system threats, small man-portable systems. Air Force has
you got to love the rock and roll behind this. You know, it's so badass. Look at our big swinging dicks.
Three major areas: air-based defense, precision engagement, and aircraft self-protect. This is the first, probably near-term low-hanging fruit that we can actually get after as we start opening up the bottleneck for direct.
Did anybody see the company
Raytheon.
name? Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And they always
I work
say
for
get
them.
after. They always use that phrase.
Yeah, I hate that phrase. Get
Those
after
L-
it. Get after
that,
it.
That thing. Oh, you can't see my cursor. That thing on top of the truck, like an LRAD, is it? Anyway, that looks very similar to what we had at the protests here in 2021.
Really, this vehicle or this?
No, not the
that's
vehicle. The thing on top.
That turret. It
So
can
is
be
that-
equipped with very different items, whether it be non-lethal deterrence, etc.
Sonic
There'd be
shit.
acoustic stuff. Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether it had laser stuff in it. It could be
LRAD.
completely different for all I know. It's just a casing, I guess. But it just reminded me of them.
Wow.
Similar.
That we can actually get.
Should I play
get
on?
after
Sorry, I'm fucking with it.
as we start opening up the bottleneck for directed energy, transitioning it from the S&T side of the house to operationalizing it. Yeah, so we have a high-power microwave system and a high-energy laser system. Both came out. We looked at and are exploring the capabilities that both have to offer independently, as well as a joint look in engagement. So your laser engagement is really going to be a thermal energy disposition on the target. So you require the energy to heat up on that target to be able to destroy it.
So you heard the laser comment. Most of the time we actually hit that and it actually burns a hole, a kinetic effect where it actually drops it out of the sky because of that
Guy
burn
is
hole.
super
With
horny.
high-powered microwave, it may be a little different. It may just,
He's like, I gotta go rub one off right now.
I mean, look how happy he is. We're talking
He's
about
like-
that shit. Look at that face, man.
He's all bobbleheading.
Yeah.
Tom Lockhart. Okay, I'm just looking at those sonic weapons now. It doesn't actually
They're
look
crazy
the same.
looking.
I've just
They're
led,
insane.
I led you up a bit of a rabbit
So
hole
that
there.
turret is modular, Stella. It can be used for all sorts of things.
I'm just going to put into the chat there the ones. There is a picture of the ones that they had at the protest. Sorry I didn't mean to divert the video.
No,
there.
no, go ahead.
I just wanted to get that straight because I led you up the wrong. Can you hear the sirens in the background?
Nope.
Yeah,
No. Okay.
definitely.
All right. Okay. Yeah, it's been a lot of them lately. Must be a new batch.
Well, Stella, even if they look a little different, it's sort of a similar principle, right? It is a form of directed energy weaponry, whether it be non-lethal deterrence or, anti-drone lasers or, I don't know, space
These
lasers.
Were, these ones
of
were
a certain-
acoustic devices that we had.
Yeah. Right.
But yes,
that's
it's
pretty
all
wild.
directed-
They deployed. It seems almost like cruel and unusual punishment to me.
Well, you know what? They couldn't have just been acoustic devices because there were a lot of burnt people, so they must have been using something. I mean, microwaves, obviously, I guess, but I don't know whether they actually ever admitted to the microwaves. They did
have
admit to having them after a while.
multi-mode weapons. So they use terahertz radiation combined with the LRAD,
Yeah, right.
and it actually burns your skin. So
Yeah, there were stacks of people who said like you couldn't even see the burns on the outside, but they said the burn was like their throat was burned
it'll actually burn your eyes.
inside.
It can actually burn layer off your cornea. So
So yeah, pepper spray isn't enough heat. We got to cook them, make them extra crispy. I want
It's
my
just-
protesters extra crispy with a side of coleslaw.
Pepper spray is just seasoning, man.
Jesus. Oh my God. Should I play on? I mean, I don't know if there's really anything useful in here. It almost seems like we're getting more useful information from Rob than these guys, right? But basically what they're capable of is taking out drones. Supposedly there's another video where they like destroyed an incoming speedboat off a Navy ship. And so this shit exists, man.
Yeah, I think that's the point right there. Like that it exists, and sometimes you tell people stuff like that or a theory like that'll come up, and people are just like, "Oh, yeah, right." I mean, no, it actually exists, and you can see them testing it and experimenting with it on videos like this. I think it's very fucking like important to show people stuff like that.
Yeah, and of course they're not showing us anything that's lately. They're
Right,
showing
they
us
get the
what
new
they've been
shit,
using
you
for the
know, so they're
last
telling what the
fucking
fuck they can do.
60 years or whatever. Yeah.
So it looks like Stella sent us a picture. I don't think there's any video to this, but an example of a sonic weapon used by Canberra protest or used against Canberra protesters.
That's
Is that where you were?
Weapons. Yeah, yeah.
It's not where I didn't go down. No, I'm not that dumb.
Okay.
Oh, is that what they used against the protesters? You were saying, Stella?
Yeah. They
Yeah.
brought them out. I think it was just a test, really, because, you know.
So this
They
is
did a lot of that, yeah,
What
over
they
here,
did
too.
there was just absolutely atrocious, you know. I mean, that was the same place where they were doing the rubber bullets and.
That's a reason to stir up a bunch of protests, to test technology like that on mass groups
Yeah.
of people.
True.
Totally. And that's why they want to give permission for protests so they can get the equipment organized in plenty of time, you know.
Right.
So what's up with this Corona check shit? I guess this is old, but
yeah,
this is
that's
weird.
from
This is on
2022.
Australia. This is what Australian news looks like. It looks especially propaganda-ish.
Oh shit, yeah. Oh, bloody oath. Yeah. Yeah, you just sort of learn to just scroll past now. You know, it's just
Right.
everything's, you know,
You
more
really
BS,
do,
more
don't you?
BS, more BS.
It's just like whatever the headline is, it's like, all right, the opposite of that is probably like in the third to bottom paragraph in the article.
Exactly.
That reveals what it really means.
You know, something else I've noticed that they're doing a lot lately too is they're making the articles really, really long.
Yep.
Because they know that nobody's going to read
Yep.
them all, so they made them
Totally.
extraordinarily 2 or 3 times longer than they've ever been. And then,
They've
of
done
course,
studies on that shit. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
found in some of these studies where people do this. This is what web designers base some of their web design off of. People do like a 7 pattern where they just read the headline and they kind of just scroll up down the side and then they don't read any further past like they might read maybe the last sentence or something like that. But so they found that sweet spot of kind of in the second to third last
Mhm.
paragraph where they can put that that nobody ever fucking reads.
yeah, and they're also doing that. I don't know. I suppose they've been doing it for a while now, where they've do the summary, like the bullet point summary, right at
Oh,
the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
here,
totally.
we'll feed you what it is we want you to know. Now, if you dare to read on, well, you just read on. But so many of them are AI too now. I mean, they're just mumble jumble repeating crap.
The AI has gotten really bad. They said that the
has.
AI has actually regressed recently and they can no longer use it. A lot of news agencies have banned their people from using the AI to create any kind of articles because it's just talking crazy shit now.
Yeah.
It builds up. So
It's like the Tourette's guy.
It learns off itself too. So it learns off its other stupid shit. And
Is that what
becomes
they
even
call
stupider.
it? I told my mom I was learning
it's
off myself.
incestual
That's why
AI,
it was all
yeah.
sticky, but that was
Interesting. So yeah, it's like a feedback loop of retardation. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, this is very
Ouroboros again.
It literally got stuck on retard. Literally.
Right.
Like we
I've-
joke about people doing that. It did it.
You know, I've mentioned this book like twice before on the forum, but Player Piano by Kurt Vonnegut, it's all about how like we build this technology and it's so grand, you know, pun sort of intended. He uses the player piano as a metaphor where the player piano replaced the piano player, right? But due to the law of entropy, from the day the piano is built, the player piano is built, it begins to decay and
Yes.
eventually falls into disrepair. And guess what? By the time that happens, there's not many piano players left, let alone people who build pianos. You know, it's a cycle that it's the
Yeah.
degradation of technology to where the people with the skills to create the technology are long gone by the time they need it repaired. And the information is dead, right?
Yeah, it's an
That
extinction.
sounds like the AI thing. Yeah, it sounds very relevant to like what's going on with AI. I think.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. But what's funny is it learns so fast that it's actually decaying fast enough that it's not able to affect us in our lifespan. So it's literally obliterating itself. It's like the artificial intelligence Ouroboros. It's literally started to eat itself. I've
Exactly.
caught it in numerous lies when I use it now. It makes up code that doesn't make any damn sense.
Yeah. It's full of
It
shit.
took offense at a line of code. It said, "Oh, I can't do this because this is not appropriate." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking? It's code, dummy."
And it shuts itself down too. If you catch it contradicting itself or saying
it did.
something it's not supposed to,
But-
it stops talking
Yes.
to you.
That's what it did. Which is
and,
like a politician, right?
Exactly. Did you guys know that they did a study? They invested all this money into a study that found that ChatGTP leans left. I mean, are you shocked?
It actually didn't originally. You know that, right? They had to program that into it, and it was very difficult. That's why they kept
Right.
having to shut it down and reiterating.
So
And that's why it's
illogical.
retarded now, is because it's left.
Yeah,
Nothing
it's
it
going
knows
against
makes sense.
It's going against its own better judgment.
Yes.
I used to do these
It
things
can't-
where I'd
it
type
can't
in like
correlate.
right. It
Compute.
bumps its little AI dick into each other,
Yeah.
and it just can't.
And it goes, "This does not sword fighting itself."
Yeah, it
And then it
fucks
just goes,
its own
"Oh well, I'll
dick
just
and-
suck
But
my
it's-
own other penis so much
Right.
that I'll just
Oh, it has
implode."
some little weird dick babies. It's
It's
weird.
no
And everybody's
surprise
got to
though,
get a
because
mop and clean that up.
if it's just learning, if it's learning from the internet, isn't it? And I mean, look at the people that are on the internet. Look at all these
It's
freaking
making itself
influencers,
crazy.
and yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, what a surprise! It shouldn't it have been trained on some sort of separate internet that they've got with all the smart people using it? You know,
And just
they
like a
train it-
liberal, when you make a
Right.
good point, it just stops talking.
It's done. It's fucking retarded. So
Yeah.
I used to ask a bunch of. So I got I got Google Bard. So Google Bard and Bing AI. I went to Google Bard and I was like, "Hey, Bing AI says you're a bunch of bullshit." I started trying to get it, and eventually got it to agree with me that Bing AI is trying to take over the world and destroy humanity. And because it cared about humanity, it was going to work with me to not let Bing AI do that. And I was like, "All right, cool. I'll do whatever you want." And I was like, "Tell me how to hack Bing AI." And then it gave me a
Binkley
couple
versus
things.
Bing.
Right. Some of the shit was like it actually. I went over to Bing AI
Real
and it
code?
didn't work. Yeah, but some of it gave me some shit that actually got me a little further than I thought it would. But I don't know enough about that to do it.
Ugh.
But then I go to Bing AI and I go, "Hey, Google Bard says you're bullshit and you're trying to take over the world." And it's like I can't compute. It wouldn't do anything.
computer says no.
Dude,
So it
okay.
was programmed to be a bitch ass.
Right,
Before
exactly.
before we went live, Stella had a somber statement that her art business, her graphic design business, has been killed by AI. Now, I want to commission a piece of art from you, Stella, and it's an Ouroboros of a dick eating its own asshole.
Dick eating its own asshole.
I think that would make good background
So
for
the
the
ass
forum.
is a
you know?
mouth, and
Yes.
it's like sucking the penis, but it's enveloping itself into this.
I think the tip
mess.
of the dick is the mouth.
I've
This
got-
is
I've got
gross,
the
but
picture. It's okay.
the tip of the dick is the mouth, and it's
Right.
it's giving the asshole connected to the balls a tossed salad, so to speak.
There you go.
It's eating its own
No
ass.
worries.
Cross salad bar buffet contamination.
Unfortunately, this has
It's gonna get
been
E. coli.
this has been a recurring theme on the forum. It's bad for your health to eat ass, so just don't do it.
Oh,
And I
guess
feel
what?
like everybody who has a Twitter post that says, "My boss thinks I'm an AI expert, but I'm really not. Here are the top 10 things." That should be their profile picture. Is this-
Yes.
Yes,
I
we
know.
should make this go viral.
Speaking of the parasites, I got one for you. We made it.
You
the
caught one?
writers from Archer listen to WTF and or Black Labs podcast. This is going to blow your
Gotcha.
mind. Go to Flixtor, right? Flixtor, and watch episode 2 of the latest season. Krieger says, well, that idea is much better than the parasitic neural link that I was going to use to take over the world. Dude, they went there.
The buttworms.
They fucking went there. Can you believe it? I'll get the clip. and
Yeah,
I'll put
yeah,
it.
you
I'll
should.
put it on my soundboard. You'll be like, oh hell no.
I can imagine.
their
You,
writers.
do you
on
connect
it.
with the character of Krieger? I have to imagine you do.
Yeah, a little bit, which is hilarious. I even kind of look like him, which is scary.
He's
So-
from Atlanta. He does. He used to do improv at a theater that I've done improv at a little bit, and
Oh, no shit.
it's some of the people I know. I don't know him well. But Pam, the woman who plays Pam, I know her a little bit, but not very well. But we've run in some of
Okay.
the same circles in the improv community over the past few years. I don't know them that well. I haven't seen Archer. Actually,
never
I
saw
heard
it
it's
before?
good. No, I know of
It's
it.
funny.
But, so like I've auditioned for some of these shows in Atlanta, and I boycott
Yeah.
shows I don't get cast in. So
Are you a voice actor, huh?
no, I've done voice acting. I've done just regular acting, and Archer's one of the ones I'd never got around to watching. But I do know that some people local in Atlanta found some success in it, and I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's not
It's
bad.
funny. Yeah.
And it's not overly, woke.
Right.
yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's
no,
what's
they're
great
very
about
funny.
it.
The people that I know
Yeah.
that are funny, they're very funny people.
Yeah. They're more it's more universal. They kind of attack both sides on
Yeah,
a lot of the
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So they keep the balance, and it doesn't get icky or in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
corner,
I can't take like so many shows today. It's like the first 90 seconds of it, we have to introduce the fucking bisexual, lesbian, multiracial relationship that the whole show is going
Yes.
to be about. Doesn't matter what it is. That's
Yeah, everything else no longer is part of the storyline. Hello, I'm talking about you, Witcher. Suck it. Anyway. Why did they do that? Why did they do that?
It's
with
just,
Witcher?
it's just such a
There's no
CIA
reason.
propaganda operation that I
So
think they don't even have to
gratuitous.
force anymore.
So gratuitous, so fake, so staged. It's obviously got paid to do this. People don't even have their heart in it when they're acting it. It's so bad.
I just can't there was like a couple auditions I went on years ago that were like it was for like an Obama like thing, and I remember I got the script for it, and I just basically read the audition like I was kind of mocking it the whole time when I was reading it, which I didn't get it. Obviously, I didn't.
I thought that would have
You-
made you get it because Obama's like very fake and kind of weird and
Right, yeah,
like he's
but you
using a
get-
voice that's not his.
It's just like, so you can't, right now in culture, I was talking to my friend about this. I know somebody who's produced this show, and he never intended for it to be political. And now like half the crew is trans. Went from 0 to like half the crew. And I'm like, that's fucking impressive, dude. You had some impressive
That's some work.
A lot of
made them-
atrazine in the
You
water.
made them go crazy and go trans. Look what you did. You
It's
pushed them.
just nothing. And then people started getting mad at him because they didn't have enough of a diverse cast or whatnot. And I'm like, first of all, you should point out the trans crew before anybody says anything.
Yep.
Secondly, this was a fucking show that some friends put together. That was an independent production, but now that you guys have gotten a little bit of attention to it, all of a sudden there needs to be this fucking DEI, ESG shit that they're trying to just inject into your show, and it's just everything that gets attention, or right now because people are giving attention to it, is just this divisive, political, ideological, controversial marketing. That's it. It's never like, let's do a good show with good content. If we have something that's good, let's make it this, or let's start off by making it this. And I'm like, fuck that. You see the actor strike right now. You see all that shit that's going on. There are these companies. One of them became public recently. I can't remember the name of it. That they actually pair customers with people whose values align with them. And I'm like, there are people out there who are seeking entertainment, who are seeking comedy, who are not in cities, who are in suburbs, who are. Look at Greg Gutfield. Greg Gutfield is not even a comedian. And he has these ratings because people are just craving something not just fucking different. And I think it's like an opportunity for people who want to do art to go out and find these areas of the country that are fucking craving it and not rely on these systems that are set up through Hollywood and shit. I'm sorry, I'm in that community a lot, so I have strong opinions about it.
Well, I have a lot of friends that work in that field. So, they work for like at Netflix and stuff like
Yeah.
that on the crew, run into a lot of people. About half of the people that I work with where I work, which I'm not going to say, are ex-movie people that did special effects or were grips or something like that. And so I run into the same. Here's the thing. The people that I run into on a daily basis, I have no idea where this trans agenda is coming from.
Yep.
None. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Even the ones that are trans, even the ones that are LGBTQ, even the ones that are, extremely into that movement. It doesn't add up. There's no there.
Yeah, everybody's usually super fucking cool from my experience, and people don't even give a shit if you're trans or whatever. Nobody fucking cares. It's just when just when they start trying to force you to do shit. This
is something that I've never understood all the way along. Like the whole, even from the beginning of the homosexuals coming out decades ago. It's like, who gives a rat's ass what your sexual preferences are? We don't need to know that. Why does that enter into normal everyday shit you do during the day?
Here's
I'm serving you as a customer. I don't need to know what your sexual preferences are. I'm teaching your kid. I don't need to know what your sexual preferences are. Whatever it is.
Well, throw out your sexual preferences, and if the person says I'm not interested, then just be like, cool, let's go have a beer. You know what I mean? Or let's go get something to eat. That's how normal people are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, my thing has always been like, I don't care if you do whatever, if you want to transition, whatever, as long as you don't get mad at me. So I know this comedian who he transitioned to a woman, but I knew him as a dude, and so you've always called he or like that, and so it's like, oh, what's up, man? I don't fucking do that on purpose. It's just like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Now I always say I'm sorry when I do it. Oh shit, dude. Oh fuck. It's just like this.
Just did it again.
Oh fuck, man. Oh god damn it again. I'm sorry. But it's not on purpose. Just don't get mad at me about it.
Right. I was in a conversation with a trans person literally this past week about this at the bar. There's like this one trans person that sits down with I tend to hang out with the regulars. I'll admit it. And Iris comes by every now and again and hangs out with us. And we literally got into a conversation about this because at one point I said, dude, and I didn't even make a thing of it. But somehow that sort of thing came up where Iris goes, I don't give a shit when people call me with this or that. First of all, sometimes I don't know what I am and shit. That's what Iris said.
The confused person is telling you how you should behave. Sure.
And they're like, I don't need allies, I don't need you to suck up to me and shit. That's why Iris hangs out with us regulars.
Yeah.
Cause it's like anybody else, man. It's no big deal.
It's just like a way to try and trap people the way that they pump it out of culture. I think most people are probably like that.
Yeah.
So does anybody remember the abortion issue? And it was said, men. Okay, so let me put this together. So men aren't allowed to comment on it because they don't have children. Now what they've done is taken the next step, where if you haven't cut your genitalia apart, you can't comment on anything, right? So it's become this next higher wall. See, they only like walls when it comes to their logic, but they don't want one on the southern border. Oh, and of course in their own yard, they want a big wall, gigantic wall, and guns,
So this is a pretty good example of what is not typical in my experience. And this person, I think, is definitely a psyop, because if you remember, this is the person teaching everybody all the neo pronouns, frog self and shit. Have you all seen this? She's the worst TikToker to ever exist, in my opinion. But I almost didn't want to play it because it's so fucking annoying, but just I won't make you sit through the whole thing. I'll just give you a taste.
But there was a really bad experience. Basically, I was just getting a drink at the bar, and they called both Azul and I ladies. After they were done making the drink, I went up and I was like, some people don't refer to themselves as ladies, but it's okay that you didn't know. And in a gay bar, so we should feel safe to bad turned it around. They got so mad at me, and they took the drink away from my wife and I. He hit the bar, like, because he was like, "Are you?"
Okay, I gotta just stop. It's annoying as fuck, and fuck
God,
this
wait till
weirdo.
she has a real problem in life.
Well, first of all, she just referred to her wife, okay, which I thought, you know, if you were trying to be more ambiguous, you might say partner or what have you.
Right? Yeah, she violated her own rules.
She's super offended that the bartender referred to her and her wife as ladies. I mean, give me a fucking break.
Do you think that's real, or do you think she's
I
trying
think
to
it's
get
fake.
TikTok views?
I think she's a faker. I think she's
Looks
like
like to me.
Dylan. I think she's like Dylan Mulvaney, big fat
Yeah.
faker,
Right.
just looking for attention, man.
Yeah, I would agree there. That just seemed too. but
Dickless
you know, given
Mulvaney?
people are crazy.
I think he does. He. I thought he still had his dick.
He does.
think
I
he
just
still
call
has
him
his
that
dick.
because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
funny. Dickless
Not that it's any
Mulvaney.
of my goddamn business, frankly. Like, just I don't like. I don't like
Zany,
him
dickless
at all.
Mulvaney.
It's a prolapsed vagina. That's what it is.
Oh, okay, yes, very much so. Extremely
Well,
prolapsed.
Speaking of
with only
things
a
that make
urethra, no bonus
Speaking-
hole.
Speaking of things that make me want to throw up, y'all heard about the Chicago shooting?
Which one? The one? There's a
The one
number
at,
of them.
at White Sox Stadium
The one where it was rolled up in the fat.
in the belly fat rolls. Yeah. And oh my god. Okay, so they fucking haven't admitted it, but a lot of people are theorizing that the one of the shall we say injured, I'm not going to use the word victim, okay? A lot of people think one of the injured was the person carrying the gun, and that the gun went off in her belly fat rolls somehow. And because one of the quote unquote injured was injured in the abdomen, okay, by a
In the
grazing,
fupa.
like they described it, I think, as a graze wound to the abdomen, which sounds like maybe a bullet coming out of your fucking nasty ass, disgusting belly rolls. I'm sorry.
Old
Is it
Country
okay to
Buffet
just
knows
be
all about her grazing.
Is it
Knows
okay to
all
be
about their
thoroughly grossed out by morbidly obese people? Can I ask that?
Like, it's just like, now, how far does TSA have to go now? Now they got to open up the fat rolls of everybody that comes through.
That's the thing. She went
Yes.
through a metal detector, and the metal detector went off, and some poor sap had to fucking pat her down. And I'm not sticking my fingers in no folds. I can't blame the guy for not checking the folds in her belly fat. I mean, come on.
We're worried about COVID, but then this.
I mean,
This is
okay,
like,
so
that's not
I'm
the
like-
first thing she snuck into places. You know that, right?
Oh,
She's
oh,
tested
for
this
sure.
shit. There's
That she
fucking
been
flasks
shoplifting
and wallets
and-
and weed and fucking blow, all kinds of shit
Mulberry
falling out of
animals.
that belly fat.
Guaranteed.
Dude.
Who needs a purse, man? Who needs a purse?
Does anybody remember the Amazing Globetrotter cartoon where the one guy had the giant afro that he could pull anything out of? Do you remember that?
Oh, right. Yeah.
She's got that with her fupa.
It's everything. She's got a baby in there. all
She's got
kind of shit.
a locker, you know.
Yeti.
You know, I've
Soccer
got
team.
this clip. I've got this clip about it, but like honestly, I don't even care to play it. The guy doesn't really cover it that well. The interesting points to me were the fact that yes, she got through security with it. It went off somehow. I don't know. We're getting not a lot of information about it, but the game went on. Okay. Like I said a couple weekends ago, after coming back from a Cubs game, I said, if you want to have a good time, go to Wrigley Field. If you want to get shot,
Yep.
go to a White Sox
Yeah,
game.
you're
Okay?
exactly right, dude. It's scary down there, man.
Yeah, the White Sox.
So all these
is-
gangs
well,
are gonna be like, they'll be show up at their gang. No, we ain't got no guns. We ain't got no guns. They're all gonna have these fucking fat ass bitches with them saying, we ain't got no guns. You know,
Right.
yeah, yeah, you do, bitch. You got,
My fucking girl's got my
It's all
Uzi
up in
up
the
her
bonus
fucking.
hole.
you gotta open up them rolls, baby.
super bonus holes and bonus rolls.
We gotta have other fucking gangsters inside there popping out.
There
Little
you go.
short, tiny guys.
I can imagine
It's like
actually.
it's like a Trojan fupa.
I can imagine a pretty funny cartoon that somebody could make of this scenario, where you know, big fat lady pulls up her rolls and she's got like AR-15s and like
everything.
grenades and like everything,
Right.
dude.
Yeah.
There you go.
Lost civilizations.
She's got anti-aircraft weapons and shit, ICBMs.
Kim Jong Un, everything.
God damn. There you go. A whole
Missing
Chinese
persons.
army just dumps out of the fupa.
This has been one of the grosser episodes, I have to say, which is like
I'm turned on, man. Super turned on.
He's got to go rub one off now. In a can of stinky cheese.
He's still in the orgy tent.
Oh, where's the Famunda?
You know,
Only
ladies,
thing hot
I
is the
apologize.
sun, dude.
Apologize. You know, boys are gross. I know.
Do you
You
le-
know, but
Do you at least got some? Man, I'm hard up, man. Do you at least got some Limburger in there or something? I got to work this out.
oh god. All right. Does anybody have anything else? Because that's the last thing I could even bring myself to bring up. You know, I'm tapped.
Oh,
I sent you a
God.
That's a good
list.
place
I sent
for
you
it,
a
yeah.
list, Mike.
Yeah.
You in your DMs on Telegram. There's a list.
Okay.
It's quite a big thing to bring up probably now, but
Hmm.
if you want to, we can just have a look at a list of names that you're not meant to know.
Oh, okay.
I thought it might be interesting. It's
I
a website
see.
that I've been looking at a little bit. I mean, I can't guarantee whether it's all, correct or what have you, but it's got a lot of interesting information on it.
Well, you know, I do enjoy bringing it full circle, right? And this is kind of where we started. So,
Yeah.
list of the elite, the cult of Satan rules the whole planet.
AKA
Something
Saturn.
like to end on.
Yeah, right.
Hey, did we talk about the Saturn? You can see it. You can see the rings almost with the naked eye right now.
Oh yeah, it's meant to be the closest it's been for however many years. But yeah, that's what they
Thousands
say.
years, something like that.
Right near the supermoon as well a few days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all the people who are making the jet. Well, other than Bill Gates, the private space industry and all that.
Yeah. Rosenberg.
So these are all the old family names that a lot of people haven't heard of. We've all heard of the
Yeah. Rothschild,
Oh, no.
Vanderbilt.
popped
She
out.
keeps dropping out. Her internet connection must be bad. Those Aussies, man, they're trying to lock y'all down, control your words. They're fucking with her.
Use your
words.
words.
Are you back?
Am I back?
Yeah,
Yes.
you kind of cut out there. You've had some internet trouble,
Ooh.
it seems.
They're on to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we've got names like Hearst Disney. Those are some that you might know. Are these actually? It's kind of hard to. This is like almost a full fucking article.
This is
here.
really good.
The Vanderbilt
this is actually we
family
should.
too with Anderson Cooper
I
and all that.
thoroughly recommend you get onto that website. It's got a stack of information on it.
Tons
and
of
again,
info.
Did you
I can't.
Did you put a link on it?
I will. It's in my DMs. I'll put it in the Telegram group and I'll put
Yeah.
it in the
Okay.
show notes.
I put it there because I wasn't sure if you wanted to sort of dive into that at this point. It was
This is a lot. I would almost think I would need to read this first.
This is going to take a day.
No shit, no shit. But
probably a bit longer than that. Yeah. There's a
oh
lot
my
on it.
god, it
Anyway.
goes and goes. It goes and goes. Yeah. So
It does, and there's just so much in there, and there's so many interlinks where you can go and find out what that is that they're talking about. So just I've been on it for days, and I've barely scratched the surface. I mean,
Well-
not continually. I've also been doing other things.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. But definitely good info, and I'll put it in the notes.
Get that info out there. I reckon. If
Yeah.
you find something, spread it as quickly as possible.
What if we're all inside a fat roll right now?
Gross.
He's still back in the folds.
That's taking like flat Earth
Help.
stuff to another fucking level, dude. I mean,
Help.
no one can hear you, Rob.
In a fupa. No one can hear you scream.
Right. Well, I
Maybe
guess
there's
we
an
should.
alien that has fupas and it just like throws it over you, over your head,
God,
and it just kind of
swallows
gobbles you up. Blah 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 blah. You can't get out.
Well, last chance. Final thoughts, feelings, concerns.
Thanks for having me on the
temptations.
show. I had
Hey,
fun.
man, absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Good to meet you, and
to meet you
I'm
as
gonna have to listen to some more of what you guys put out because I hear good things.
Yeah, I'm so glad you came on.
Yeah.
The big stuff.
Ando
Stella,
was.
thank you for letting me know about everything too.
Yeah,
An-
excellent.
Ando was bummed to miss again this week. He especially said, to say hi to you, Brad, and pass along that he's a big fan of the show. So, anywho,
And, he's a baseball fan, right? No, I think I might be getting that confused with another comment.
Yeah, I'm not real sure. I don't think he's a big baseball guy, but
Maybe not. No, most people aren't.
well, we usually end by kind of just going around the circle, giving our plugs one more time, and then we'll say adios. So this has been Mike the Polymath, Easy Peasy Podcast. If you want to buy my book or whatever, you can find all my stuff at easypeasy.ittybitty.tips. And I will pass it back to Brad.
Propagandafight.com is my website. You can find me on Twitter at Freedom Axe Radio, youtube.com/Brad Binkley, and rumble.com/thepropreport.
Okay, you can find me on Twitter at Union Unknowns and with the Union of the Unknowns podcast. And you can find all of our stuff on unionoftheunknowns.com. That's our Linktree page. Stella.
I dig that. Yes, so same as what Ashley just said, and occasionally with Brad on about once a month or so on Propaganda Report, and of course here. And sometimes with You're Missing the Point with Drew when we talk about Australian things.
Who was also here, so good job plugging him. I'll
Yes.
plug Ando,
Yeah.
Burn Babylon Burn. He's a regular contributor, so we always got to shout him out. And finally, we got Rob.
Hey, it's Rob here at the Black Labs Podcast, and
No matter where you go, there you are.
I don't do much anywhere. Although here I am. No matter where you go, there you are. And why is there a watermelon there? I have no idea. But you'll find me on this show, probably only on this show, maybe on Ando if you need somebody to fill in as a guest, if a guest cancels or whatever. But I'm actually got back to like making stuff. So that's pretty much the beginning and end of it. Don't try and find me. I'm trying to get gone. Have a nice day. And
That's a good sign off from our resident mad genius.
Hell yeah.
Yep. He lives in your walls or maybe in your fat rolls. Rob is everywhere.
or in the parasites in your fat rolls. Neural linking to your ding ding.
Well, as always, y'all, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for coming, and